Hello and welcome along to the FIA Gran Turismo Championship for 2018. This the Nations Cup Asia Oceania Final. Thank you for bearing with us. Sorry for the very slight delay. Myself, Chris McCarthy, and Jimmy Broadbent here to bring you the stream this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you're watching from. Thank you for joining us, Jimmy.
Yes, fantastic to be here yet again. Of course, yesterday we had our 10 finalists decided for the World Final, but now it's time to decide who will walk away with the win here at the regional final here in Odawaya, Tokyo, at the Toyota Mega Web. I can't believe we're still here, Chris. We haven't been tucked away yet. We haven't been fired yet. Not quite sure what's going on.
Yes, it has just gone 4:30 here actually, and a beautiful day here in Tokyo. The Toyota Motor Fes currently happening around us. We had a chance to look around that earlier on today. But now it's time to go racing. 30 of the best players from Asia Oceania region battled it out yesterday. 10 of those have now gone through to the World Final, but now we decide who is going to walk away the champion. So at the moment our MC is on stage. It's Kusuke Hiriara, and Kusuke is just explaining to the big audience that have actually gathered here that we are currently having the Nations Cup taking place today. Of course, there is going to be a manufacturers series, but that will go straight through to the World Final. The Nations Cup is what we are all tuned in for today. We will also have, of course, a regional final for the Eastern Europe, Middle Eastern and African region, as well as the Americas as well. But this is the first of our 3 regional finals. And I think it's fair to say the competition here, Jimmy, has been very, very high. And it's going to be hard to pick a winner out of the 10 drivers that have gone through.
Yes, definitely. And for us, of course, Chris, people who are used to commentating on the EMEA region, coming and seeing what the Asia Oceania block has to offer has been pretty special, especially the Japanese drivers. I mean, I was completely blown away with the pace of those guys yesterday. Kokiban, of course, comes to mind there, who was actually the leader of this region overall, so no surprises there at all. But it's been absolutely great to see these guys do their thing. Our MC just explaining our location. You can just see on your screen, we've just gone now, our location. The rigs there on stage, a lot better than they were at the first World Tour that we attended. The screen on the back, I like to say, used to be a bit of paper with the driver's name on. Now it's a fully functioning screen with RPM and position number. So I think it's a nice progression there. Also, guys, just to address, thank you so much for keeping with us yesterday. We did have some audio issues that you guys fed back to us. That is all fixed now, or should be anyway. If there are any glaring issues, then feel free to let us know in chat. I'm here monitoring chat, so feel free to shout at me and I'll try and make things better.
And on that note, if you have anything to ask Jimmy throughout the stream, please send in your questions. We'll try and get those answered or read out throughout the broadcast. Now, we did actually have a chance to have a go on the rigs earlier. Me and Jimmy actually trying to compete on Dragon Trail Gardens to see who'd go quicker. Unsurprisingly, I was quicker. No, I'm joking. Jimmy was a little bit quicker around there. But we were out there learning the track ahead of today, because that will be one of the tracks we race on. Jimmy, what were your thoughts on the rigs as someone who is, of course, very experienced in that field?
I think the rigs were, especially for a PlayStation 4 game, are pretty much special to get. Very much enjoy using them. We'll get back to that in a second, though. We just had our MC introduce our Japanese commentators. You may recognise the man on the left there. It's Keiji Tsuchiya. Of course, anyone who is familiar with Hot Version or Best Motoring will know who he is. Wearing a very interesting floral shirt today, Chris. I mean, that almost matches our shirts in brightness, I'd say. I feel a little bit Eurovision saying that and commenting on what he's wearing, but we'll try and steer away from that. But some nice to have Tsuchiya here, of course. He is someone who's renowned in real life racing, finishing second at Le Mans in the Toyota TS020, which we actually saw in the flesh today at the Toyota Historic Museum. Very cool seeing that there. And he is someone who is really behind esports and has been advising on Gran Turismo since its inception back on the first game. So great to have him here at this event as well.
Yeah, he was just saying there about he was very impressed with actually the techniques of the drivers yesterday, of course, having to use a variety of different cars, and he was impressed with how they're adapting to the cars, the techniques they were using, the overtaking that was going on, race strategies as well. So Tsuchiya, I think, perhaps slightly surprised, a little bit pleasantly surprised with what he's seeing out there. It's been a very high level of competition, as I'm sure any of our viewers would be expecting. I think today is going to be even better though, because the top 10 players are now together, and we're going to have 3 races, and over the 3 races the drivers are going to score points, and by the end we will have a champion. So it's not going to be one of those where it's all or nothing at the end. It is going to be, as we've seen in the World Tour event, a points system. So we will start with qualifying, then we'll have our first race at Suzuka Circuit in the N500 class, then we'll move on to the Group 3 cars at Dragon Trail Gardens for our second race.
I'm excited about I can meet many fast drivers in this event. I want to race with them and try to win them. Please support us, the e-sport racing, and maybe a few years later we'll join the real life racing. Please support us.
僕にとっては初めての e スポーツイベントです。ですので、絶対頑張りたいと思います。そしてみんなも支えてください。よろしくお願いします。
It's been my dream ever since I've started Gran Turismo, and I hope I do well in it. Riding with the best.
It's amazing to be part of the regional finals. You know, all the talent here, it's quite incredible. I'm looking forward to the competition, and I'm sure the racing is going to be even better.
とにかくクリーンなレースを心がけて、見ている方に熱いレースだなって思わせるようなレースができたら嬉しいです。
優勝するためにここに来たので、他のことは考えてません。みんなきっと緊張していると思うんですけど、自分本番に強いタイプなので、今回はもちろん優勝を狙って戦っていきたいと思います。本物のサーキットのように盛り上げられるようなレースをできたらいいなと思ってます。
絶対にワールドファイナルに行ってやる。僕のストラテジーに注目してください。お願いします。
あんまり速く走ろうとしてもろくなことないので、楽しく安全に事故なく走りきれたらいいかなと思ってます。
It's very exciting to race in a live event in such a great facility. I'll try my best, so I hope you enjoy the show.
I'm thrilled to be competing here with all these fast Australians and people from the Asian region, and I'm going to give it a good crack. Today, everyone back home in Australia and from all the world have fun watching us race.
Well, we'll come back to talking about the tracks and the races a little bit later. First of all, we've got to get the drivers up onto the stage. And as the lights dim around the arena, the crowd has opened up a path for the drivers now to walk down, and they will be brought onto the stage. And here they come. We have Shogo Yoshida there, who will be leading us onto the stage. Through from one of the epicharges as well, we have Shirakawa. It's Yuki Shirakawa from Japan.
Very flamboyant driving style from Shirakawa.
Yeah. There's Adam Wilk from Australia. He now makes his way onto stage.
One of the Wilks, we've been told. They were actually brothers. We only found that out today, so
yeah.
we're great commentators.
Found that out about an hour ago. Here's Daniel Holland. He came through via the repechage as well.
AKA TRL Hollow.
And nearly binned it actually on the last lap, but was around 10 seconds ahead anyway, so didn't really matter too much. Yatlam Law now comes onto the stage, came through in the first race. And winning that first block for the Hong Kong, Taiwan and New Zealand drivers was Jonathan Won. Won it fairly comfortably as well, so one to watch today, ranked 3rd overall in this region.
Here we have Matt Simmons, GT Academy winner. Only managed 2nd yesterday, but had to be through and caught him napping earlier, literally. Very tired at the moment.
And winning that race, Cody Nicholas Latkovsky. Nice to see.
Fun fact, Chris, he only just qualified. He turned 18 the day before the competition.
Good point. Finishing 2nd in the Japan block was Yamanaka. Tomoaki Yamanaka. That was at the Fuji track.
Here is Kokuban. Hard to say he isn't the favourite for here. 1st place in the region, 1st place yesterday in his races. Very strong contender indeed.
And comfortably won that race at Fuji as well. And he'll be happy to see that is where our last race is going to take place today. And they'll be in the Group 1 cars for that race, which will be double points. Now the players are on stage. We are going to very shortly be seeing the national anthem. That the national anthem of Japan, and the drivers now turn to face the crowd, and shortly the Japanese commentary team will be directed to their seats. But first of all, a round of applause for all 10 drivers who are the first to make it to the World Final and are now battling out for that Asia Oceania Regional Final champion.
I tell you what, every time I look down, there's more and more people stuffed into this venue. It's not the biggest venue here, so it's impressive to see how many people are involved. Just going over to our Japanese comms guys now as the drivers get set up and ready in their rigs. A little bit of a setup time here, of course, as everyone tunes the cars to their preferences. There are no custom setups in this race. Someone did ask that in chat. There is, however, the option to customize driving assists. They are there, and you can have them if you want, or don't have them. Here, we're going to have on screen now just an idea of how everyone got to this final. We have people who went through, your top half are those who went through by coming 1st or 2nd in their block finals. And the fellas at the bottom, the 4 at the bottom, got through by going through the repechage and coming 1st or 2nd in those races.
Let's talk about the format for today. We're going to have a 15-minute qualifying session first, which will take place at Suzuka Circuit in the N500 class. Then we will have our race there. They'll be on the sports hard tyre. They must change tyres at least once during that race, and it's going to be an 8-lap race with 10 times tyre wear. Race 2 will be at Dragon Trail Gardens. They'll have to use the soft, medium and hard tyre there, and it's going to be a 13-lap race with 14 times tyre wear. And the final race, which will be double points, will be in the Group 1 cars at Fuji International Speedway, where again they're going to have to use the soft, medium and hard tyre, and they'll have 15 times tyre wear. As for the points table, races 1 and 2, the winner will get 12 points, second place 10 points, third place 8 points, and then it will go down in one, so 7 points for fourth, 6 points for fifth, and so on until 10th place gets 1 point. The final race will be double points essentially, so the winner will get 24 points, second will get 20, third 16, fourth 14, and then it will go down in twos, with 10th place receiving just 2 points.
So here is your track for today, Suzuka, one of the most famous circuits in Japan. They'll be seeing our N500 class around here today. Again, I always think that Suzuka is best driven in a high downforce car. There's a lot of a challenge in a car without downforce, and these cars will definitely lack that. These are essentially fast street cars. We'll get over to the game very shortly so you guys can see that. 18 turns in total, of course, 16 and 17, home of lots of very famous incidents. Of course, a very famous incident between Senna and Prost. I hear that series is actually still going today. Really
somehow it's still going.
Yeah, really surprised to hear that.
Why don't you talk us through the cars? Because the drivers have had the chance to pick their cars. They did that last night. And Jimmy, as we will now head into qualifying, will talk us through what cars each driver is in.
We'll do that and take just very quickly go over the fact we have tyre wear at times 10 and fuel consumption at times 2. On the sports hard tyre, they should last the race. It does mean, though, towards the end it's going to be a little bit tricky.
So they do have to change once. So
okay, so they would last, but there has to be a tyre change.
So how's that going to play into strategy then? I guess they're all just going to go as long as they can and then change?
I said probably end up splitting it down the middle, just to make sure you can spend the most time on a competitive tyre. Here we are then on board with Matt Simmons in the Corvette C7. A very nice baby. That matches our tops, that does almost, Chris, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, the Corvette here, big American muscle car. I think the only car in America to be able to handle somewhat as it comes up through the Dunlop curve. Very easy to go off to the right there, grab a bit of the Astros. Oh, Simmons does that. Look, he's fighting the rear end of that car. I mentioned assists earlier on. It's quite obvious that Simmons is not running any traction control, otherwise that would be a lot more, say, tidy through there, for a bit more understeer. Well, off at the deck there. So this is only qualifying, so I guess this is almost serving as a little bit of practice as well for our drivers. That will be starting next time he crosses the line.
Yeah, if you're going to make mistakes, make them here and find the limits. And Matt Simmons certainly was doing that. So he's in the Corvette. Let's talk about some of the other cars out there. Kokobun is going to be in the Porsche 911 GT3.
He is. That's what he's picked. He's picked 911 GT3. We've got the list here. We'll go through him for you now. Kokobun in the GT3. We have Jonathan Wong. He's picked the Ferrari 458. Then Shirakawa going with the National Pride Nissan GTR Nismo, followed by Yoshida in the Honda NSX. That is the new NSX. Yamanaka has chosen the Mercedes-Benz AMG GTS with Dan Holland in the Lexus LC500. Simmons, of course, here in the Corvette, very fast in a straight line. Then we have Latkovsky, he's picked the Dodge Viper GTS. Then we have Yatman Moore, he's in the Lambo Diablo GT. And the last of our drivers, Adam Wilk in the Muse S2000 GT1 Turbo. That's a lot of names for that car.
What's your thoughts then on car selection? I believe it was pretty much down to their regional rankings and who got first pick. Any surprises?
I mean, it's hard to say with the N500 cars. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. This is far from a one-make series. Sometimes I think the organisers are criticised for that. People want to see single-make races every now and then, but I actually welcome the challenge. I like seeing cars that have different characteristics to them. Of course, they do need to be balanced, of course, but we'll have to wait and see. I was surprised to see the 458 being picked so high up, just because from past experience, although admittedly in the Group 3 classes, not in the N500 classes, the mid-engine cars tend to suffer a little bit of tyre wear, especially at the rear end. So I was surprised to see that. We'll have to see if that translates at all to come the race.
Yeah, well, Jonathan Wong had a very good race yesterday, absolutely steamed his block. He was the first person, quite literally, to go through to the World Finals. 15 minutes qualifying. It's quite a long session, gives them plenty of time to get out there and start setting some laps in and get themselves familiar with car and track. Yoshida there, just heading now down to Degner Curve. No times being set at the moment. He's in the NSX.
There's actually one of those NSXs just outside this complex, parked up for people to go have a look at, and there's also a very nasty looking security guard next to it, so no one goes and touches it. Here is Yamanaka. Of course, he seems to be a bit of a show-off driver, I'd say. Every time we end up commentating him, he does something very spectacular. Looking quite pedestrian right now, though, in the AMG GT. And now back to Holland. Holland yesterday, his performance in the R32 at Tsukuba was frankly dominating. So much so that he got almost bored in the last couple of laps. Took one hand off the wheel, started drifting, and then nearly put it off the course and lost about 5 seconds. And then think, oh, okay, maybe I should stop doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, this is qualifying. The thing is, right now, these guys are actually vying for position on track. No, Simmons is on a hot lap now, so I think he's being held up by this Diablo in front, who is on an out lap, because he wasn't there before, unless the Diablo has made its way by. Great to see a Lamborghini Diablo and a Corvette C7, a 2014 Corvette, racing together on the same piece of track, as well as this beautiful car, driven by Cody Latkovsky, the Viper GTS, one of my personal favourites from the Gran Turismo series. I always have it in blue and white, though, not red and white.
Well, there we go. Cody Nicholas Latkovsky comes across the line, and he is going to go up to second place. I don't think at the moment times are something we don't have to pay too much attention to. That said, Cockabun's gone quickest with a 2:19.8. So
we're having, this is Law on your screen right now. He's just come in for some fuel. He's coming to do that, get a bit of fuel, but he's kept, for new tyres, other way around. He came in for new tyres, but he's kept the fuel. So what they're doing right now, because of the tyre wear being so high, is they're running around a couple of laps, getting some fuel out of the tank, making the car lighter, then coming in for some fresh tyres and going for that all-out time attack lap at the end. Of course, there is a downside to that strategy, is you only really get one stab at it. Otherwise, if you mess up, you kind of want to have a banker there first before you go for that all-out lap.
Well, that's the trick, isn't it? It's very difficult to put that one lap together, particularly around a track like Suzuka, which, let's be honest, is very, very demanding, and particularly in these cars. But that is why these guys are here. They are the best 30 within their region that were eligible to make it out to Tokyo, and they've been really enjoying the experience. Actually, they were all taken out earlier to go and see some of the sights, and now they are back here to the other 20 drivers gathered behind, actually, just sitting along on the benches behind, watching in front of the crowd, and the 10 drivers up there. They were out for practice earlier as well. We actually were able to watch a little bit of that when we arrived, Jimmy. We missed them practicing here, but we did catch them practicing at some of the other tracks, so we might be able to talk a little bit about that. But at the moment, the Japanese drivers, I think, what will be a little bit of good news to the home crowd is that they are dominating 1, 2, 3 and 4 in qualifying at the moment.
Well, the Japanese drivers have been very strong all weekend, Chris, even in practice beforehand. They are looking quick, and here it is, of course, Kokibun, again, one of the fastest driver in this region, full stop at the moment. Not sure whether that will put him in the world rankings. I'd be interested to see that, maybe make some info on that at some point.
Hopefully.
But again, at the moment in that Porsche, just at the top of the field, not by much though, only a 10th in at the moment. It's actually very close between the top 3 drivers, and now Wong, the Hong Kong driver, has actually now broken the Japanese top 4 and placed himself in 4th position. Looks like Kokibun went close to the line there, tried to take the line of least resistance to the start-finish line, actually didn't go any faster, only 6 thousandths slower though, as Yoshida comes into the pits, I think, to get a new set of tyres.
Yeah, Yoshida into the pits then. Just to pick up on something with regards to pit stops, a little bit of a change that's been made this weekend is that there will be no differences in the times when you go into the pits to put on a new set of tyres. So, for example, if you go in half a second in front of the driver behind you and you both change tyres, you'll still come out half a second ahead, and that was something a few drivers were particularly happy about. So it's not on a random selection, it is been set so the pit stops last exactly the same amount of time.
Yeah, that's something that, as you mentioned, has been changed from the previous World Tours. I think that's a fair decision to make, because it is just a random roll of the dice for pit stops. So you don't really want to be losing maybe like a second or 2 seconds just because you've got the wrong roll. RNG, as they say, shouldn't play host in the racing game. It should be down to skill, in my mind.
I mean, I know they're trying to create a real life situation, but I think if you could have someone have a crew that did the pit stop in the exact same amount of time, then you'd do it. So why not install that into a competition like this? So I think a good decision made. I think one thing that they have done is for this regional final is taken on board all the feedback, not only from the competitors but from what's being said online. So that's been great to see, and there's been some changes installed. You were at Salzburg, of course, and have you seen things progress from then? I mean, obviously the venue is just one thing on its own, but
sorry, Chris, just a bit of a smile on my face there as I saw Jonathan Wong just drift 130R in a 458 Ferrari Italia. I mean, okay. You're not going to go faster doing that, Jonathan, but it looked good, I'll give you that. He comes into the pits now for a new set of tyres. I think he wore them out a little bit there going round. Here comes Law. We'll get back to what you were saying in a second, Chris. So Wong is down onto 68 litres of fuel now, which is good for him. Again, Law doesn't go any faster. People all coming into the pits now. I've only got 5 minutes left of qualifying, so this is when people are going to start reeling up now for their fast laps, trying to prepare themselves to be on the freshest tyres with the least possible amount of fuel in the tank. I must say, I love how imposing that Diablo is. The roof scoops a little bit much of me. You might end up catching a bird or two if you're not lucky in there. That's not going to be good for the V12 powering that thing, but it looks good regardless.
And Yatlam Law there, just working his way out the wheel. This, of course, very tricky part of the circuit. Kokubun leads then, 219.8, but only just from Yoshida. Only needs to find just over 1/10 of a second, and then it's only a couple of hundredths back to Yamanaka, then Wong. Then we have Shirakawa, Law, Latkovsky, Holland, Simmons, and Wilk. Wilk yet to really set a respectable time at the moment, so clearly he's saving himself for that last lap. As for Simmons, he is also a few seconds off as well.
Now we'll take this opportunity very quickly to answer a question in chat from Mark V.D. Linden, Van der Linden. Hello Mark, thank you for the question. He asked, what are those yellow squares that run towards 130R? Of course, those are actually unique to these live events. The yellow squares are basically penalty markers. So if you have a penalty from either cutting the track or using your fellow competitors as a brake going into one of the corners, you will receive a penalty, of course, and usually in the normal GT Sport mode you can serve that at your own time by letting off the throttle and getting off the racing line. However, we've seen in some of the regional competitions and in the top 24 superstar races leading up to these events that people would save the penalty right to the very end of the race and then just stop at the finish line. It looked bad, the races were anticlimactic, and it wasn't very fun really to try and guess what was going to happen with penalties. So what the guys at Gran Turismo came up with is that they would, once you have a penalty and you go through those markers, the penalty is automatically applied by the game whether you like it or not. Of course, that also creates its own scenario at Salzburg. We saw one car get a small penalty, slowed down by the game and then unghosted, giving the person behind nowhere to go. Drivers have been advised in their briefing, if you do have a penalty, please get off the racing line. And of course, everyone behind has to be cautious. If there is contact because of that, the driver serving the penalty will be given the slap on the wrist.
Right, Yoshida, I think, could be about to take provisional pole position here. He's 2/10 up on Kokubun as he went through 130R, and he's not had a bad run through the last corner either. Let's see if he can go into provisional pole position. Up to the line he comes, and a little bit quicker, but he's only just about missed out. 68 thousandths of a second then between Kokubun and Yoshida, and he's still got one more lap to go.
Good lap there at the moment. It's still Kokubun leading off right now. There's only a 1/10.5 in it in the top three, so a slightly better corner somewhere, or slightly braver in the braking zone, and that might see you propelled up to the pole position. Although right now it really is a lockout, really, it seems, for the Japanese guys. And at the moment it's the Australians at the bottom.
Yeah, they're just struggling at the moment, but that said, we've still got just a little bit of time left for them to try and improve, but as you can see, Simmons only about halfway around the lap and he's already a second off, so clearly struggling with that Corvette.
Getting pushed along a little bit by that Viper, it seems. That's not something you want to see in your mirrors, really. Very angry-looking V10 in your background. Of course, very distinctive noise from that V10 and from the Corvette. Both Latkovsky and Simmons struggling with grip round there. You see that? Wow, look how deep Latkovsky is there compared to Simmons on the brakes. He would have gained a lot of time there. But it seems on the straight. Let's see who has the legs. It's V8 versus V10 here. Whoa, Simmons a little bit sideways. He was lost about a tenth, and now will be losing time all the way up the straight. Currently in 10th on the last position, so not a great session from Simmons so far.
No, as you said, they're struggling at the moment, but for the home crowd, it's still good news. Kokubun, Yoshida and Yamanaka, and at this rate, we're going to have a very close race indeed, because they're only split by just under 1.5 tenths. Simmons and Latkovsky come into the Casio triangle, and now onto the start-finish straight. There's Jonathan Wong in 4th place. Latkovsky now finally is able to get past Simmons as they go up to the line, and I don't think Latkovsky too pleased with the fact that he may have been slightly delayed, but Jonathan Wong has just gone up to 2nd place there, 2:19.889. That's only 600ths off of pole position.
See the shake of the fist there, he was happy with that. I don't think he expected to be that high up and so close, as you said, Chris, to actually getting pole there. Another difference, of course, in this session is the drivers do get to finish the lap they are on. Usually in the GT Sport Online, when the timer reaches 0, that's it, your time is up, but the drivers now do get another stab if they've just got over the line or on a lap, of course. So we still have a couple of drivers out there right now, 5 drivers by my count still on a lap, so who can still improve. Yoshida, Yamanaka, Shirakawa, Law and Wilk have all finished for this session.
Yeah, but Jonathan Wong hasn't. He's not quicker than Kokubun through the first sector. He only needs to find, as we said there, around 700ths of a second, so not a lot at all. He was only 1,000th quicker than Yoshida, so it's very, very close indeed.
Oh, he's actually up. Wong is up at the moment, only just so 17,000th of a second on Kokubun, but that is still enough to get you see the positive delta on your speed. You go, right, yes, time to go. Let's do it. Let's try and reap the most out of his lap as I can. How is Kokubun though? Perhaps across the time line. He's up by 2/10 of a second, so he's going even faster than Wong is at the moment.
But he's got someone just ahead of him now. I'm not too sure if they're close enough to become a problem. I'd say no, not at all. So Kokubun has got a clear road then in that case, and has a chance to improve on his time. Jonathan Wong will have no idea about this. All he can do is concentrate on his own lap. Here we go then, down towards 130R. Is he going to be better through the 2nd sector than Kokubun? Wait to find out. And Jonathan Wong now, oh no, he's 2 tenths down, and he clipped the grass on the braking zone as well, and that sent the rear end round, and I think Jonathan Wong's hopes of taking pole position have just vanished.
Let's see what Kokubun has though. Is he up or down on this sector? He's still up, 2/10 of a second up. This could be a dominant pole lap by Kokubun if he can get to the line. Wong's going to come across. I don't think he's going to go faster. He doesn't think, no, he's let off now. 1.4 seconds slower. So
what about Kokubun?
Already on the provisional pole position. Is he going to embarrass the rest of the field further in that Porsche 911 GT3? He's sideways coming out of a last corner, nice and close to the wall. He goes only 800 faster. That's still an improvement. A 2:19.7 sees Kokubun on pole.
Brilliant performance there, and a round of applause from the crowd as well here in the Toyota Megawiv. Ryoto Kokubun takes pole position, 2:19.738. Jonathan Wong is 2nd with a 2:19.889. Yoshida is 3rd, 2:19.890. Then we had Yamanaka in 4th place with a 2:19. 220.967. Shirakawa had a 220.629. Yat Lam Law 220.680. Then it was Latkovsky with a 220.758. Then Holland with a 221.387. Then Wilk with a 222.513. And then Simmons with a 222.524.
So we just had a penalty announced for Daniel Holland for crossing the pit lane, the white line exit. You can't do that in this mode of GT Sports, so he's been given a penalty on his time now, I believe. So I think he's starting last anyway, so I'm not sure it's going to affect him. There is also an incident underway as well. Unfortunately, I didn't catch the name of who was involved in that one. Did you catch that one,
I believe
Chris?
it was the Latkovsky incident where he was being held up by Simmons.
Okay, so that's being investigated. We'll get back to you as soon as we know what's going on.
And we'll wait to find out, because certainly they were getting a little bit close, but now we are going to hear from our pole sitter. There is Kokobun. He's just being asked how he feels to be on pole position.
Not quite a winner yet. The graphic there a little bit deceiving, but I'm pretty sure this is what he expected. He's just saying he expects to maintain this position and go on to win this race, of course. A lot of the drivers saying that they were a little bit nervous yesterday when actually trying to qualify for the World Final, but now that pressure is off and now he can focus entirely on trying to win this competition here in Tokyo.
And yeah, just picking up from Kokobun there, just saying that he was feeling a little bit nervous, but he just wants to try his best. He's sweating already, but we've got 3 races to go here. But Kokobun just saying he wants to do his best and is expecting to go on and win this race.
So he's just going to go back to his seat now, just very quickly to answer Michael White's question. Is that bloke wearing racing gloves? Thank you for the eloquent question there, my friend. He is wearing racing gloves. All of our drivers are kitted out with Puma gloves and boots. Again, I keep saying this every time we come up here, Chris. I've been trying to ask Kazunori for a pair of them, and he says no every time. Keeps telling me to go away very unpolitely. No, no, I'm joking. I haven't got a pair yet, but these guys do have to race in them. If they are using a gamepad, though, I don't think any of our finalists are on a gamepad. They were excused to not wear the gloves for obvious reasons, because that would be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But we're just coming up now to our race, and just a reminder of the fuel consumption and tyre wear, with 1 pit stop being made. 8 laps here in the end of 500 class, with slipstream setting set to weak, so don't expect to see many slipstream passes here.
Well, that's good insight there for from Jimmy Broadbent, and confirmation of the investigations that happened after qualifying.
Yeah, warning issued to Daniel Holland and Latkovsky. I think the incident was between those two. I think that was the outcome for both penalties there, or both investigations. So only a warning, but it does mean if they do it again, they're going to get a big slap on the wrist, probably in the form of a 5-second penalty, which in this sort of racing, 5 seconds, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
There will be confirmation of those warnings on your screen at some point during the stream, so you guys can read that as well. Tsuchiya right now giving his wisdom. Unfortunately, we haven't got a translation of that, but I like to think that he's talking about the 86 again.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, a little bit of trivia. Chris didn't know what an AE86 was.
Oh, really?
Today, and he had some interesting words to say about it. I'll leave them off stream for now, but if I said them, I think that you would become very unpopular in Japan very quickly, Chris.
Well, yeah. Well, they are online, thanks to you. But yeah, that's all. Yeah, we'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. I didn't realise I was embarrassing myself, but there we go.
You do that all the time, Chris. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Anyway,
I'm kind of
guys,
used to it. So.
We are coming into the race now. There it is. Our first race of the evening at Suzuka in the N500 class. Kokobun starting on pole. We'll run you through the grid in a second, but stick around, guys. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and enjoy a night's worth of a night or a morning or an afternoon, wherever you are. Awesome racing coming up.
Right then, we're going to get into the grid very, very shortly. It's going to be 8 laps round the Suzuka circuit here. Let's start with the driver that is going to be starting from pole position. And it's going to be Ryota Kokubun, of course, in the Porsche 911 GT3. Second place is going to be Jonathan Wong in the Ferrari 458. Third place, Shirakawa in the Nissan GTR. There is a look at the crowd. Quite a lot of people gathered.
They want to know who's where as well at the moment, don't they? They want to know what's going on.
Yeah, well, we are going to be going back to the grid very, very shortly.
The in-game cameraman's going to be getting fired himself at the moment, but race about to start. Drivers are ready to go. We're just hear the revving engines on the grid. Of course, it's a rolling start around here today, so no chances to make any moves off the line, which I'm sure the rear-wheel drive drivers will be very happy to hear that, of course, but not the fella in the GTR. So here we are then. I think the race is about to start. I'm looking down at the rigs now. We're still waiting for the info to come onto our screen. No, I think we're having a race restart there, guys. Sorry about that. We've not been given any confirmation. I'm just taking that from what I'm seeing down on the rigs. I think there's been a technical issue, but we won't talk about that too much right now. We'll talk about it when we know what's actually happening. I think, again, going back to the Japanese commentators on stage right now. Again, Chris, just to reiterate the crowd we have in here at the moment. They've all been...
A lot of people here.
They've all been, I think, persuaded to come in outside, out of the heat, into the nice, cool studio. I say cool by comparison. It was about 32 degrees earlier outside. And, of course, as for myself and you, Chris, as pale British boys, it's a little bit difficult to...
Speak for yourself, my friend.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
I spent a week in the States before this.
Oh, I can't tell, mate. Sorry.
Oh,
you've lost it straight away. But so a big crowd in here. It's a bit warm in the studio as well, but it's a nice kind of warm. Something you can't see right now, just to the left of our commentators, we actually have the prizes for the top 3 drivers here. Every time we've been at a big event like this, we've seen prizes given out, usually these fantastic glass trophies. I got to hold Martin Brady's trophy, which don't take that out of context. I think it sounds too great, does it? I got to hold his second place
nice
trophy.
Choice of words.
And those are heavy things, you know. Those are proper pieces.
It's because you've never held one before.
No, there you go. Oh, Chris, what are we going to do?
There we go. Yeah, we've got guests in to award the trophies as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we come to presenting the trophies. But at the moment, we are on a little bit of a delay for the first race.
And the thing is, for these guys, of course, these guys are all hyped up, all ready to race at the moment, and when you get yourself into that frame of mind, you end up thinking, oh great, okay, here we go, and then suddenly it's cut short and you have to delay. So you end up in this kind of state of hyper-awareness and hyper-readiness, and it's just, you're denied, essentially. So you have to sort of sit there, try and recover, try and breathe deep and get yourself ready for the race start or the race restart when it eventually occurs.
Yeah, well, there's it's no good starting the race if we're not going to have it done properly. So at the moment, everything is just being resolved, and the drivers are still in the rigs, and they are just waiting for the go, and as we are as well, we're just waiting to get the grid on our screen, and that is how we'll know when we are starting.
So guys, if you have any questions in chat, feel free to fire them our way. I'll try and answer some of them if they are nice questions. We don't like naughty questions here. It's the PG stream. PG stream? I think it's a Peggy free stream actually, so it's got to be...
Yeah.
So no Martin Grady's trophies from now on. We're just having the players coming back into the lobby now. We're just having race control talking in our ears, saying that I think the whatever issue we had has been fixed, which is good. It means we get to go racing soon, and the players are ready to hype it up once more.
Yes, they are indeed. Tsuchiya-san is ready. Hope you guys on the stream are ready to go. Certainly we are, and the players are just getting themselves ready to go now. We're going to be racing around Suzuka Circuit in the N500 class. The sports hard tyre, they're going to have to make one pit stop, and it's going to be an 8-lap race with 10 times tyre wear. If you've just joined the stream, thank you for being with us. This is the FIA Gran Turismo Championships for 2018, the Nations Cup Asia Oceania Final. This is day 2 of the event. Yesterday we narrowed 30 players down to 10, and those 10 have qualified for the World Finals, and now they'll battle it out to become the champion of of the Asia Oceania region. They're going to have 3 races to do that, starting at Suzuka, then we'll go on to Dragon Trail Gardens, and then to the Fuji International Speedway. It's going to be on a point system. Double points will be awarded at Fuji International Speedway when we have them in the Group 1 cars.
We have a question in the chat here from Caro. Thank you for the question, Caro, one of my regulars. Nice to see you in this stream. Do you know if the normal cars are given BOP in these races? Now, what has usually happened in these events is the cars are given a special kind of BOP, kind of unique for the event. I don't actually know if that's the same here, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I'd say if the trend is being followed, then I'd expect to see the cars be balanced in a different kind or a different way from what you guys see in your GT Sport mode at home.
Well, it seems you're useful for something, and Jimmy.
It's about time, isn't it? It's about time I made a use of myself.
Well, there we go. Now, Tsuchiya-san on screen. You had a bit of a fangirl moment. For those of you on the stream yesterday, would have heard about this a couple of times.
I've still not spoken to him yet. I still haven't plucked up the courage. He's just a perfect man. I can't approach that kind of person without some flowers or something, you know.
Jimmy is currently swaying back and forwards for anyone who can't see.
Okay, so with camera there panned over the event, you can see the Japanese commentators there in the bottom left-hand corner. I've got to say, the fellow on the left, he seems to have those sunglasses on his hat at all times. I've not seen him actually wear them yet. I'm not sure if it's an interesting fashion statement to wear that with a cap indoors, but then again, I'm not one to talk about fashion. I think you've seen some of my shirts, Chris. They are.
Maybe that's just how it was sold. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. With translator-san, of course, because otherwise we wouldn't get anywhere. Of course, Jimmy was on stage yesterday as well.
I was on stage yesterday. And,
how was that?
As everyone pointed out, I was quite sweaty on the stage. That was very nice of you guys. I appreciate that. It was a little bit tricky going through his interviews, because of course we do have a Japanese audience here. We do have to cater for those guys as well. So, of course, me being an English person, I can't speak any Japanese, so I go up, I ask a question, we have to have Taka translate. The flow's a little bit different, but I think it was nice to have that time with the drivers. Especially, I enjoyed talking to Matt Simmons, of course, our GT Academy driver.
Yes.
People are asking, why is he here if he's a GT Academy winner?
Why not?
He has racing experience. He's raced before. I think he's currently in between driving at the moment. It's the way he raced it. I think that's what all race drivers say when they're a little bit of a lull period, aren't they? But just to say that I know a lot of racing drivers, both currently and ex, who drive in racing sims for fun because they enjoy racing, unsurprisingly.
That said, he's not the only racing driver here, is he?
No. Oh yeah, we have Florian Strauss over in the German commentary booth. Of course, Bathurst 2015 12-hour winner. Great to have him here. And to our left, Lucas Hodnes, who is Nissan GT Academy winner as well, current racing driver for Nissan, and actually drove the Nissan GTR LM at Le Mans. I got to talk to him about that a little bit.
It's quite interesting actually to talk to him about.
Yeah, he said it wasn't one of the most fun experiences he's had, but it was very fast in a straight line. I think we'll end that with a positive.
Let's at least end it on one. Right, here we go, race 1. Sorry for the slight delay, but we're going to get into the grid now. And starting from pole position, of course, is going to be Ryoto Kokubun. He is racing in the Porsche 911 GT3. There are the pictures of the drivers to the right of your screen. Jonathan Wong in the Ferrari 458 is going to be starting from P2. Yoshida starts from 3rd place in the Honda. Then we have Yamanaka in the Mercedes-Benz AMG starting from 4th place. 5th place is Shirakawa in the Nissan GTR. 6th place then is Yap Lam Law in the Lamborghini Diablo. 7th place, Cody Nicholas Latkovsky in the Dodge Viper. Then in 8th place, it is Dan Holland in the Lexus. Starting from 9th is Adam Wilk. And then starting from P10, we have Matt Simmons in the Chevrolet Corvette. Right then, it's going to be an 8-lap race over to Jimmy Broadbent, who will talk us through the race start. We're just getting ready for the cars to get underway. Now they're off. Jimmy, over to you.
So it's Kokubun leading us away in the Porsche 911. All he's got to do down to T1 is look in his mirrors and watch out for attacks from the pit stream. The auto driver will give it to the drivers when we hit the go. There it is, start our first race of the evening here at Suzuka at Tokyo. Kokubun drives away down to T1. Snake of cars behind as a car peels out in the background looking to try and make up some positions. A good start there from our pole sitter with Jonathan Wong and Yoshida following through behind. In the background we have Yamanaka coming through as well in the AMG. Doesn't seem to be many changes for position right now. Yoshida there in the NSX 2017 trying to just stay with Jonathan Wong through here. Of course all these cars have different characteristics, so we'll see how those play out as well. But right now it is Kokubun, Wong and Yoshida 1, 2, 3.
Kokubun leading the way then, no such problems, a nice clean start, it has to be said. All drivers just keeping themselves to themselves at the moment, being very well behaved, but let's see if that changes as they start to get even more close together. Yoshida seems to be going pretty well in the early stages of this lap, just closing in on Wong at the moment. It seems to me, Jimmy, as if already Kokubun is just ever so slightly stretching a lead here.
At the moment, yes, it's early to tell yet at the moment. Interesting to see that Shirakawa has pulled a little bit of a gap between the Diablos. The top 5 are now putting away very slightly from 6th to 10th. In the background there, the Diablo got a little bit wide there. Very easy to do that with oversteer. Holland,
it's dropped down to 10th, yeah.
Holland made a mistake. I missed that on the screen, so maybe some sort of issue there for him. Unfortunately, not a great start for Holland in this final. Of course, getting a warning in qualifying as well. Yoshida sideways there into Spoon. Maybe the brake bias a little bit too far back in that NSX.
I think he clipped the grass potentially, rear wheel, and that might have just sent him round potentially. As we now start to make our way down to 130R, you see the gaps as well between each driver to the top left of your screen, something you'll be familiar with if you play Gran Turismo Sport. And Kokubun, as we can tell now, 0.8 of a second his lead, and you've got to be very brave through 130R on the first lap, and I think we have the explanation as to why Holland may have dropped down. In fact, no, that's the warnings. Is that had to be given to them from qualifying?
I don't think it is. I think it is actually another warning or another investigation being. We'll get back to that when we know what's going on. Yoshida now looking strong behind Jonathan Wong, coming down to T1. Wong goes defensive, drives down the middle of the circuit there in his Ferrari. Yoshida in the NSX. Great view here from Yamanaka, getting a third-party view. Get to watch this show in front. Yoshida not too strong into T1, neither is Wong actually, and Yamanaka able to close the gap somewhat, but staying with them in the background in that GTR is Sharakiwa. Looks like Latkovsky has moved up into P6. So what happened to the Diablo?
Well, we basically have the field cut in half here because it's a whole 3.8 seconds back to Latkovsky. So the top 5 are away, the 4 Japanese drivers and the 1 driver from Hong Kong, that is Jonathan Wong. They're away and clear at the moment. Something I think we expected to happen straight away. Of course, some cars are going to have an advantage around here in comparison to others.
I've just spotted in the background Latkovsky in the Viper, and then Adam Wilk behind them in the bright green Amuse S2000, drifting into the second Degner, and Law, who's in the Diablo, is down to 8th place, so a bad start there for Law.
Yeah, and the train now forming behind Jonathan Wong. We can see him to the bottom left of our picture, keeping himself very focused at the moment. It must be very hard for these drivers to keep cool under the pressure. They've not only within the arena have they got a big crowd gathered, but of course all you guys tuned in not only to our stream but to the 5 other streams that are going on as well. They're very aware of that because they were telling us last night they all went back and watched the stream. So they're very aware that that's all going on and people are tuning in. And I wonder if that goes through their minds at all.
Do you know what they said to us, Chris?
What?
Did you know you can hear the Japanese commentators on the stream? Like, thank you, drivers.
Oh,
I didn't know that. But look at that. Look at Yoshida through 130R. All sorts of sideways through there in the NSX and making it look easy. I can tell you, going sideways through that corner, it's not really something you want to be doing. 1, tyre wear, and 2, new pair of trousers.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that as well. And I don't even know if he's going to have time to go and do that, so I feel sorry for anyone sitting near him. But Yoshida still in 3rd place for now. Yamanaka in 4th place there, and then we have Shirakawa in 5th. Is this going to be a case of pit strategy now? Because it's looking quite difficult for Yamanaka to find a way to get through here.
Yeah, our top 5 right now.
Oh,
again, Yoshida just that NSX seems to be faster sideways than it is in a straight line. But as you said, Yamanaka not really able to pass. And when you see someone in front of you sliding, you think, I can't really get around this guy, because he's literally making his car wider by having it slide in front of you. Also a little bit of a tactic as well. You think, oh, maybe he'll go wide and hit me off the circuit. You have to be a little bit careful. But I can tell you right now that Yoshida is absolutely shredding his tyres of this sort of attack on the Suzuka course. It's hard to say on the list every now and then. So we'll see if he comes in earlier or not. We expect to see the guys come in about the end of lap 4, because there is a stop forced in this race, and that will be the best time to do so, I think, but we'll see.
So end of the next lap is when we reckon. Now Shirakawa has just got a good view of all of this at the moment. I wonder when he's really going to start to get involved, if ever at all. But in the background, let's just have a quick run through what's going on elsewhere. Seems to be fairly spread apart. Latkovsky is in a very lonely 6th place. Then we have Law in 7th place. He is under a little bit of pressure though, with Holland, Simmons and Wilk all within around 2 seconds of him. So the battle for 7th looks fairly intense, as does the battle for 3rd place, I think it's fair to say, because Jonathan Wong has slightly checked out now in 2nd.
Yep, I think he needs to do that as well. I think Yamanaka also needs to find a way past the NSX of Yoshida, because it seems that he's being held up slightly. And of course he'll be looking at Yoshida again, sideways through 130R, looks to the inside, or the outside of 130R, but the inside of the Casio triangle, lay it on the brakes, and wham bam, thank you man. Yamanaka up into 3rd position, and a round of applause there from the crowd. That about as happy to see an overtake as we are.
Yeah. Hardly an overtake as well, was it? Because it looked as if like Yoshida just backed off the throttle as well to minimise the amount of time lost there. I think drivers all aware at the fact that this is going to be a race, or a competition, so we say, that is going to be done on points over 3 races, with the last one being double points. So there's no need to take any huge risks at the moment. It's just about getting some consistent finishes in these first 2 races. The last race is when you want to start taking some risks and then reaping the rewards of those. So I'd say for now they're all fairly happy. For example, Shirakawa, I think he's just happy to just be in 5th for now, and then maybe think maybe in the pit stops I'll be able to do something. But 5th for me would be okay.
I mean, as a racing driver, as an ex-racing driver yourself, Chris, you'll know that 5th is never where you want to be, really. You want to be 1st, but sometimes you've got to be a realist as well. Now, what I'm wondering now is whether Yamanaka will pull away. I'm saying that he has pulled away, already about a second on Yoshida behind, and maybe now looking to chase down Jonathan Wong. He is actually catching the Hong Kong driver in front. So this could mean we have a battle for 2nd coming up as well. Pokemon as well, he's actually falling back into the clutches of these guys a little bit. The gap now down to about 2 seconds. I think I saw it at 2.5 before, so not quite checked out yet is our leader.
No, that's a good spot actually, but I'd say managing the gap perhaps. It's 2.3 now. I think you picked up a good point. Wong and Yamanaka, that's the gap we've got to keep our eye on, because it's coming down. It's now 1 second as we exit Spoon Curve and head down towards 130R. So potentially that could be a gap that comes down over the 2nd half of the race. And I think Yoshida is under a lot of pressure here, and could we see him make a similar mistake and allow Shirakawa to go through? But this is lap number 4. Are we going to see anyone into the pits?
I think we may do. Of course, we only have to wait a couple of seconds to really find out. We have our leader coming round past the pit lane now. Here he is in the Porsche. No, he stays out another lap. Will anyone else come in? I'm fairly sure we are having a mandatory pit stop in this one.
I think there's Yaplam come in.
Yoshida comes in. So okay, Yoshida into the pits. He's going to blink first there, and there is the pit lane siren letting everyone know, or virtually to get out of the way anyway.
And Latkovsky's in as well.
Okay, so people are pitting in. Interesting that Kokibun is going to go another lap, obviously feeling that he can do another lap on these tyres, but now we're going to get the undercut, the tyres that are on the cars who have pitted now are going to be fresher than those who have not pitted for 1 lap. So this is when you start pushing, and you can gain up to about a second or two if you really have pace on these tyres. So we'll see Yoshida again sideways, and here comes the Lexus of Holland, who has yet to pit, but Yoshida managing to keep it round the outside compared to the NSX. That Lexus is an absolute tank.
Shirakawa, I think, could pick up 4th place here. Of course, he's in 4th at the moment, but even after he stopped, because he looked to be getting slightly delayed from Yoshida, and I think now he's been released, he's got a chance to go and potentially try and get 4th. Of course, Yoshida's going to be quicker now. He's stuck on a fresh set of tyres, but then he'll be a little bit slower come the end. Right, incident involving Latkovsky and Yatlam Law ignoring pit lane lines. Those kind of warnings always seem to lead to penalties when it comes to something like pit lane exits. So fear for Latkovsky and Law that they could be receiving a penalty very shortly, but of course we'll keep you updated. We did say to keep an eye on the gap between Wong and Yamanaka, and I think it's quite significantly come down now. It's down to 0.6 of a second, make that half a second as they make their way through Spoon Curve.
Now we're seeing the mid-engine there, the Ferrari, make a little bit of tyre wear towards the rear of the car now, seeing as it's sliding through Spoon. Yamanaka's going to have a little bit of slipstream down here up towards 130, although I do expect we'll see both of them peel into the pit lane. You can see on the graphic in the top left where people have pitted. They have a 1 next to their name for those who don't have a dash right now. Great to see the drivers on board. Look at Yamanaka really struggling there with the steering, getting out on the curb. And we both know, Chris, having driven this in a bit earlier on, that getting on the curbs can really cost you. And Latkovsky with a 5-second penalty. That is his race over.
Yep, Latkovsky, that is a very, very poor mistake to make, I'm afraid. He's going to lose a lot of places for that, and Latkovsky's race has just been ruined. So that's a real disappointment for him, as more pit stops being made, and as a result of that, Yoshida is going to... is he going to pick that 4th place back up, I wonder? Kokubun still leads, 1 second, Yamanaka 3rd, and Yoshida remains 4th, and he looks to be within 1 second there of Yamanaka.
Really interesting there. You'd have thought that Yoshida with the undercut would have got round, but it shows you just how much faster Yamanaka was.
Yeah.
To stay ahead, even though he was undercutted by Yoshida. But now, again, the fight resumes between 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. Just a new picture in the background was Shirakawa in the GTR. He's not really a bit of an anonymous race so far, just got sort of been lurking in the background waiting for things to happen.
He was around sort of half a second behind Yoshida, so he's lost well over a second in staying out an extra lap. And we've got an incident involving Dan Holland being investigated for the pit lane lines, and I fear for him he could be receiving a similar kind of penalty that Latkovsky had go his way.
Very simple thing to do though as well, is that pit entry line and pit exit line. The thing is, the drivers have been briefed this, said if you cross this you will get a penalty, so there's not really much of an excuse there. So it's quite an easy penalty for the stewards to give. Again, just to reiterate, we actually have live stewards here at the event who are looking at each individual incident, be it on replay. It's massive, you can't see it, but behind the screen there is just a mass of computers and people there all trying to get this broadcast set up and looking flash for you guys. So big shout out to the crew. Just a very quick fact that we like, it took, was it 120 people?
120 people, 48 hours
of solid work to get this venue put together. Oh, hello, and then Holland as well has been awarded the 5-second penalty again for ignoring pit lanes. And just very quickly going back to what we were saying, we were walking up to the commentary booth earlier, and there was a man sleeping down in the corridor. I think he had a little bit too much work overnight.
I wonder how many of those 48 hours he did.
I'd wager most of them.
Yamanaka really closing in on Wong here, and Yatlam Law has also received a penalty. This not good at all. Yatlam Law is already down in 10th, and he's going to drop down even further, I'm afraid. It's 3 of our 10 drivers picking up penalties. It's surprised me a little bit, considering this. We've got 3 races ahead of us here, and they're doing that in race 1.
You do indeed. Of course, the last race being worth double points as well, so if you do have a bad race in the first race, it isn't necessarily over. But of course, you do want to try and score well throughout, ideally. Wong and Yamanaka still fairly close together on track, and just 6 tenths between them at this time. Let's see who has the pace through the S's. I love this onboard camera here on the tyre. It's really good to see just how close, what sort of lines the drivers are taking. You see, just touching the curb there on the right, and the thing is, Yamanaka will put it in that same place every lap. That's how good these guys are. I know you look at this and think, oh, maybe I could beat these guys. This looks easy.
If it looks easy, then they're very good.
Exactly. That's what you always said about the guys karting, didn't you, Chris? But these are some of the best guys in the world, and I'm looking forward to seeing who is crowned the Nations Cup champion when we get to our finals later on in the year. But now we'll focus on this, and the gap now down to 3 tenths of a second.
Yep, those World Finals will be mid-November. But here is Yamanaka, and he's caught Wong at the perfect time, because we are, of course, getting ready to go on to the final lap of the race. Cockabun's got this one in the bag. He just needs to stay on track in one piece. He could probably do in Holland and take one hand off the wheel as he's going down the straights. Wong is there, second place, 4 tenths of a second in hand over Yamanaka, and that's going to significantly come down, of course, once they hit the straight, which they do now.
Here we go then, on the straight, coming up to 130R. This is where you can use a little bit of the slipstream to try and gain in a little bit. Slipstream is set to weak, so you wouldn't get quite the same amount of advantage you have following someone closer. Yamanaka a bit more aggressive on entry there, and you can see the gap visually closes down. Won't be quite close enough for a go into the chicane, but look at Yamanaka on the brakes, so aggressive. That AMG just pulling up to the back of the Ferrari. Let's see who's got the traction though coming down to T1. Yeah, right on the back of Wong at the moment. He's going to have the draft and the momentum coming down to T1, but that Ferrari seems fairly quick in a straight line. Wong comes to the inside of the circuit to defend, make his intentions very clear. Yamanaka not able to pull back in there. I think the Italia actually pulling away a little bit, the Ferrari there.
Yeah, Wong just trying to break the toe briefly, but Yamanaka closes in through the first couple of corners as they now hit the S-curves. This, of course, the trickiest part of the circuit in many people's opinions. Yamanaka, is he going to be closing in through this section, I wonder? It's all going to come down to 130R, essentially, when they hit that part of the track. I reckon that's when we're going to see a potential move being made. All Yamanaka has to do now is stay within reach so he can pick up the toe down that back straight as they now make their way down towards the Degner curves.
Yes, these corners are very fast. First Degner, second one's a little bit slower, and wow, you can see Yamanaka really working with all the picture-in-picture cameras. Great here. I love seeing the drivers are made to work hard. He's so much closer to the back of Wong than he was before, but there's not really anywhere to overtake unless he darts out now. He looks around the outside. Wong goes defensive. Will he try and cut back? Wong might go a bit wide here on the exit. Yamanaka looks to put one up the inside. A little bit of contact with the back of the Ferrari there, and subsequently the car is loose, and he can lose a little bit of traction, a bit of momentum now coming up to the Spoon curve.
Yep, up towards Spoon we go, and Yamanaka has just dropped back a little bit, but he'll pick that gap back up again once we go onto the back straight. Wong there now is going to have to put up a real defence here through 130R. What is Yamanaka going to be able to do? It's a good exit from Wong, to be fair, and Yamanaka not happy about something there, signifying it's something.
I think Wong really held him up on the apex, just backed him up coming onto the straight, which he's allowed to do. Great checking, not maybe sort of dallying on the apexes. Let's see if he can have one last attempt here on the final lap. Cockabun's going to win it, but who's going to take second place here? Looks like it's going to be Wong at this rate. Yamanaka very heavy on the brakes, right up to the back of that Ferrari 458. But here is your winner, your first round of the day. Cockabun takes the honours in race one, but who will it be in second place? Looks like it's going to be Jonathan Wong. It will be Jonathan Wong. Second place, Yamanaka ending up in third.
Cockabun taking the win then. 4.2 seconds was the gap at the flag. Jonathan Wong finishes in second place. Yamanaka 0.3 of a second back at the end in third, but certainly he was not too happy about something on that last lap. Yoshida fourth place, Shirakawa finishes in fifth. He got the gap down to 1.8 seconds in the end. Latkovsky, despite a penalty was 6th place, so I guess that's not a bad effort. Simmons was 7th. Holland, who also had a penalty, was in 8th place. And then it was Wilk in 9th and Law in 10th place. But your race 1 winner, Ryoto Kokubun, very comfortable win as well indeed, with pole, fastest lap, and a lights to flag victory.
Round of applause here from our live crowd. Again, more and more people seemingly being shoved into this event. Bless them, it's getting a bit tight down there, but they all seem to be enjoying things nonetheless. So great job there from Kokubun, taking the fastest lap as well, a 2:19.5, not a bad lap time by any extent, and he picks up 12 points, the full point score for him so far. 1 race down, 2 to go, and now we're going to have an interview with Kokubun.
Yeah, let's hear what Kokubun has to say. And just saying there he had to concentrate a lot on what he was doing. There was nothing, no real pressure, but all he had to do was just concentrate on his lines and drive a clean race. You can tell he's been working hard in that rig.
Saying that he had to try and get away as quick as he could just to make sure he didn't have to fight anybody else. But you can see, as you said, Chris, lots of sweat on that brow. He definitely was working hard, even if it didn't look like it.
And I think just being asked about if he's been able to practice, about practicing at home and
practicing in his hotel room. Someone said that, have you got a rig in your room? He said, no, I haven't, no, honest. So maybe check his room later on, guys, make sure he hasn't. But
well, he was just saying there, 4 hours a day is what he tends to do practice-wise, so I think that definitely showed. And Kokubun has been quite simply unbeatable so far this weekend. Let's see if he can carry that over now to the Dragon Trail Gardens race. And drivers are going to remain in the rigs actually, apart from Ryoto Kokubun, who will now head back and prepare for race number 2.
Quite a difficult schedule for these guys, a lot of racing in a very short amount of time, and now we're going to hear what the Japanese commentators think. Well, I say you're going to hear that, you're going to hear what we think about what the Japanese commentators think. So, what we may do, I'm not sure. We're just talking to Chia again now. I think you saw a little bit of drifting from Yoshida there, so we'll be happy to see that on screen. But yes, just to recap, of course, I think the big surprise was just the Australian drivers not really being anywhere in that race. 6th to 9th they came. Of course, we saw a penalty for Latkovsky and for Holland as well, and for Yatlan Law, who I saw at the end of the race threw his arms up in frustration. He wasn't happy with how he finished that race, which understandably you don't want to be starting off by finishing last. It gives you a lot of work to do over the next 2 races. So speaking of the next race, we're at Dragon Trail Gardens next, something that Chris and I actually had a go on earlier on. We had a little drive round there ourselves in the Group 3 cars. I can tell you right now that we were a lot slower than the guys you're seeing on stage, but I beat Chris by 1 point something seconds, so I can say I've beaten a real life race driver. How about that?
I didn't have as many laps. I'll just say that. My rig was probably slower somehow. There is the points, as you said, and Kokubun leading the way, but things at this stage stay very close, but when we get to double points there is a chance things can change quite significantly, as we've seen at some of our World Tour events. And Kokubun in a very good position at the moment, and has really stamped his authority, if he hadn't done already, on this finals. Dragon Trail Gardens will be next. Group 3 cars, they're going to have to use the soft, medium and hard tyre at least once. 13-lap race. It'll be 14 times tyre wear.
It's a lot of tyre wear, that is. I mean, for those of you who don't know what we mean by 14 times tyre wear, the easiest way to explain it is that 1 lap around the course is worth 14 laps of tyre wear on the tyres. So things get very difficult very quickly. As you said, Chris, our driver's being forced to use every compound of tyres, which means that the soft tyre, of course, is going to be very fast for about 2 or 3 laps and will fall off quickly, whereas a hard tyre won't be as quick as the soft or the medium, but will last for a very long time, probably over half the race. So tyre strategy will come into that. Now, what I would say is I'd expect to see, let's say, for example, Hyokubun, if he's starting at the head of the field, to pick a soft tyre and get out there quickly, get away from everywhere else. You don't want to be fighting at the start. The ideal situation is that you have the soft tyre and you get to use all its performance without having to fight someone else. Because every time you're fighting someone with a softer tyre, you're going to just be wasting that performance and trying to stay ahead of them.
That's a very good point, actually. We'll run through the cars that they're going to be in before we get into the race, because drivers are just getting set up at the moment. So Kokubun's going to be in the Volkswagen Beetle. Wong is going to be in the Subaru WRX. Then we are going to have Shirakawa in the Chevrolet Corvette, Yoshida in the Porsche 911. Yamanaka is going to be in the Mercedes-Benz AMG, which we were trying out earlier. Holland's going to be in the Aston Martin V12 Vantage. Simmons is going to be in the Jaguar F-Type. Latkovsky in the Alfa Romeo. Law is going to be in the BMW Z4, and then in the Mitsubishi it will be Wilk.
So we just have the drivers doing their practice right now. You guys can't see that, of course, but they are, we can see down on our rigs, they are having a little bit of a drive around. Just a nice bit of time to warm up, just to reacquaint yourselves with the circuit and track. Of course, these guys are being asked to go to different types of cars over a very short period of time, different tracks, different ways of driving, and of course some cars will suit others better. For example, there may be someone who's good at driving the road cars and the idea of really throwing around a road car with not much downforce, and some might enjoy Group 1 cars with a lot of downforce. So we might see some people do better as the competition goes on.
I think we're about to head to the grid very shortly now. Our MC on stage has left. There is Dragon Trail Gardens. You can now see as the track map we will be using. 14 corners in total. I think we were driving it the other way round actually when we practiced it.
Oh yes, we were. We were driving it not the reverse version. So we drove one way around. These guys are going to go the other way around. See, big straight there into a quite sharp right hand. It's a good overtaking spot there if you have a good slipstream down the straight. And just to really kind of confirm, this is the Nations Cup, of course, and here are the race details on your screen. 13 laps around here, 3 times fuel consumption, and as we said earlier on, 14 times tyre wear with the real slipstream setting. So what you would expect from real life there from slipstream settings.
Some very difficult parts to this track, isn't there? Turns 3, 4, 5 and 6 are going to be particularly tough on tyre wear. I think they were the particularly hard corners. If you got one of them wrong, then you got all of them wrong. I believe we got some more questions coming in on the stream.
We do have a question. I'm going to say that's Tiny Kel there, missing an I, or TNY Kel. Thank you, Kel, for your question. He says, what view do the drivers use? Do they all have to use cockpit view? No, the view is open, but most of the drivers tend to use the bumper cam, the one in front of the car with nothing, no cockpit, nothing like that in front. But anyway, let's run through the qualifying or starting order for this race. We'll hand it over to Chris, our main man, for the start. That sounds horribly cheesy. I'm sorry for that, guys. Let's go with the grid. Kokubun starting from pole in the BMW Beetle. Very quick in the corners, not so fast in the straight line. Jonathan Wong in the WRX Subaru. He's followed by Yamanaka in the AMG GT3, the car we drove earlier, Chris, around here. Yoshida in the Porsche 911 RSR. Great sound that thing makes in real life. Not so much in the game, unfortunately. Shirakawa in 5th in the Corvette C7. That beautiful Alfa Romeo 4C being driven by Latkovsky, looking for a better race this time around, I'm sure. Matt Simmons in the very fast in a straight line Jaguar F-Type. Then it's Daniel Holland in the V12 Vantage. Can't beat the V12. Adam Wilk in the Lancer Evo. And rounding off our grid is Jacques Lamour in the Z4 BMW.
Right, so you can tell the grid formed by where they finished in race 1, and that will be the case for the next race as well. This race 2 of 3 and we will add to the points that we already have. Kokubun is going to lead us down the straight for the first time, 13 laps ahead of us. Let's get ready to go racing for the second time in the Asia Oceania Regional Final for the Nations Cup. 3, 2, 1, off we go. Kokubun leads us down towards the first corner then, and Wong tucked in there in second place. Yamanaka's going to try lunges he down in towards the first corner, briefly into second as they hit the second apex, though I think Wong is just about going to go into second place. Once again they were trading paintwork there as they made their way down towards turn number 2, and Wong has tucked in now to third place, so Wong back down to third. And I'll tell you what, Yamanaka looking very quick on this opening lap. Kokubun's got a penalty.
Oh, a penalty for our leader, that's huge already, so he's going to suffer, lose a little bit of time in that VW beetle. What I was trying to point out to you, Chris, is that Yamanaka, he's on the soft tyres, he needs to make the most of this and get past Kokubun as quick as possible. So let's see how this penalty affects things. He's coming down to the area now, he'll have to pull off the racing line and get out of the way of his competitors. He's going to lose several positions here, so an easy start from Kokubun thrown away almost instantly. So he's served his penalty, but now he's lost all his momentum down this long straight, and here come the other drivers. Yamanaka is through into the lead. Wong, I think, looking to try and pass as well. He does, he goes up the inside, and Kokubun is held out on the outside. That's to dry. Shirakawa wants a piece of this action as well, and that Corvette looks round, not quite enough room there, so Kokubun down to third position.
Got to say, I'm surprised Wilk down in 9th place has gone for the soft tyre. As you made a good spot that you have to really be able to use those soft tyres in clear air, but Yamanaka leading the way on the softs, and it's mediums for Wong and Kokubun. Shirakawa also on the soft, so let's watch him trying to make some moves very shortly as Wong now defending from Kokubun. We're already on to the second lap of 13 here. Don't forget that they have to use all 3 compounds at some point during the race, and at the moment the full order is Yamanaka, Wong, Kokubun, Shirakawa, Yoshida, Simmons, Holland. Wilk is up to 8th place, then it's Latkovsky and Law.
Yamanaka doing what he needs to do right now, which is pull out a gap from the rest of the field. He'll have that tyre advantage, but of course this tyre advantage only lasts for a couple of laps before he'll have to pit for a set of mediums or a set of hard tyres, which will see the rest of the field come back together. Here is your battle for 6th, 7th and 8th place. Simmons, Holland and Wilk, the Australian guys, all together at the moment. Hopefully they can do a bit better in this race. If you're an Australian guy in the chat, I'm sure you're hoping that Holland with a big lunge up the inside. And then contact behind, three-way contact there. Who is that? That's Simmons shot off into the background. That's our GT Academy ex-winner. Just absolutely fired off into the barrier. Let's see what happened there.
Right, down towards the right-hander we go. Holland had made the move, and Latkovsky was trying to make a move of his own, and he sent Wilk into Simmons, who had nothing to do about that, unfortunately. Are we going to see any penalties there, I wonder?
I think so. We've seen a lot of aggression from Latkovsky this weekend. That was a bit too far for me. He caused that incident. Simmons was just an instant bystander and all that. Wrong place, wrong time. And that was all, I think, down to Latkovsky. But anyway, we'll get back to that once we know what the stewards think. Here's your battle for third position between Kokubun and Shirakawa. Shirakawa on the outside on those softer tyres, so has a bit more grip, but Kokubun still managing to throw that Beetle up the inside. The Beetle, not really a fan favourite. I can't imagine why. Seeing a Beetle with a big wing does not make a GT3 car in my mind. But it's doing fairly well here in the hands of Kokubun, of course. Very talented. Shirakawa looks to the inside once more. Not quite enough room there, of course. A little bit difficult to overtake through this section. Lots of sweeping left and right hand of corners. But once we get to the bottom of the circuit, we are presented with a hairpin where drivers can try their luck.
Kokubun, I've got to say, I'm surprised to see him struggling now in comparison to Jonathan Wong. It just shows that we could have a really close fight on our hands. There we go, instant involving Latkovsky, Wong and Shirakawa under investigation.
Yamanaka trying to read what was going on there on the big screen, trying to read the penalty to see what is going on around him. An interesting tactic there. You don't get that in real life. You can't look up the big screen and see what's going on. Well, most drivers don't anyway. The gap, 1.8 seconds to Jonathan Wong behind him. And there is that penalty. We expected to see that Latkovsky for the second race in a row awarded a penalty. So it's going to be setting some sort of record for these races, but not a good one.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. What I was going to say, though, Kokubun is struggling in comparison to the first race here. if you'd watched that first race, you thought, well, he's going to run away with this whole thing, but that certainly doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Jonathan Wong is the one now getting one over him, 1.2 seconds ahead of Kokubun, and we've already got someone into the pits. That's Wilk, who was on the soft tyre, and he's come in to go onto the medium tyre.
Got this awesome feature here, the live point ranking. If the race finished now, it would be Yamanaka taking the lead of the series. It'd be a three-way tie for first, which would be fantastic, although I very much doubt it's going to end this way, seeing as Yamanaka, I think his tyres are now starting to go a little bit south, Chris. He's not got the same pace as he had before, and I expect we'll see him in at the end of this lap. Of course, Wong and Kokubun behind will probably continue. What we did see yesterday, though, Chris, is that some drivers weren't able to make the mediums go very far at all. In fact, some drivers were pitting on the same time as people on softs were pitting, so I wonder if we'll see something a bit different today.
I mean, are you surprised he didn't come in at the end of lap 3?
Yeah, a little bit, but of course you try and keep that going. The trouble is, it's kind of hard to make these decisions on the fly. In real life, you have a race engineer in your ear telling you, right, pit now. That's something else about sim racing that you don't really see in the real world. You make every decision. You are responsible for everything, which can be a bit overwhelming, but this is why these guys are the best. They're here today and they're putting on a great show for us. Let's see if Yamanaka peels into the pit lane.
Well, he's managed to keep the gap at around 1.5 seconds, and unsurprisingly dives into the pits to get rid of those soft tyres, and he's going to go on to the medium, so he's saving the hard tyre for the end. We can see who's pitted in, and so far with the one next to their name, Yamanaka and Wilk, so they're the only two drivers to pit. But that said, Latkovsky's now come in to put the hard tyre on, and Holland is moving to the softs. I'm
going to say that I think that Yamanaka was a lap too late with that. I think he maybe left that a little bit too late. He's gone from the mediums, which says to me that he's valuing track position right now. He wants to come out ahead of guys maybe on the hard tyres and the mediums at the moment, and then save the hard tyre for the end so he can defend. So we're also having, for Yoshida now, a pit lane infringement, ignoring pit lines. Now usually this is quite a...
that's usually pretty conclusive.
Bit of a penalty kick, that, bit of an own goal, as they say. It's very easy to decide that is going to be a penalty or not. We'll see. No penalty issue for Lapland Moore, who was involved in the incident before Simmons and Latkovsky.
Yeah, that was earlier in the race, wasn't it? Wong leading the way here, 1.5 seconds ahead of Kokubun. All he's got to really do is manage this gap. We reckon Yamanaka came in a lap too late, so if that is the case, then Wong should be having the jump on him here when he comes into the pits. Holland also under investigation. We're getting a lot of these pit lane lines investigations going on here. No penalty issued to Yoshida, so that's good news for him as Wong now comes in, and he is followed by Kokubun as well. Shirakawa also in. He's gone to the medium tyre. Wong is going on to the hards. Kokubun to the softs.
Let's see where Yamanaka is. Sorry, Yamanaka has come out ahead of Wong, but not with Yoshida, who's not pitted yet. And yes, as you said, Kokubun onto the softs now, so he's deciding right now I want to attack. Driver in front, Jonathan Wong on the hard tyres. We've seen that the soft compared to the hard, you can pretty much drive around the outside of someone if you have the right move.
Spun! Holland is spun. He's into the barriers. He clipped the orange barriers there to the left of screen, ran too wide. Here we go. Let's look at the replay.
So just coming round to T1 now. Accelerate to the apex, nice and late. Yes, very, very wide there. And then
Bosh.
Off round you go. Just got caught on the curb. I've done that a couple of times when I was driving earlier, Chris. But
I think I've done it a fair few more.
To add insult to injury, Holland is awarded a 10-second pit lane penalty. The reason why that's so severe is because he's done it already. He's already got a penalty for 5 seconds in the last race, and now that's been up to 10 seconds better. Anyway, Yamanaka for the lead on Yoshida up the inside on the medium tyre. He gets it done there, coming up into the right hander. Now we plunge back downhill and round to almost complete another lap. We're nearly halfway through this race. Now you can see Yamanaka really throwing the car around there, and Yoshida not able to do much about that on the hard tyre.
Wong here is now coming under pressure from Kokubun. Of course, we've got to keep an eye on the fact that Wong does have the hard tyre on and Kokubun the soft, so I don't think Wong's going to really be too worried about this, and he's not even going to fight it too hard either. He's just going to allow Kokubun to make the move fairly easily. So Kokubun, this is like qualifying for him almost now. He's got to be really throwing in those purple sectors. This a critical part of the race for him.
It is. He needs to make sure he's going as quick as possible, and that sounds like a very easy thing to say, like in the racing. Well, yeah, sure, Jimmy, you've got to go as quick as you possibly can. But now this is where it matters. On the soft tyres, he has to make sure he hits every apex, uses every ounce of tarmac on exit, and uses the full potential of that Beetle Group 3 car. Meanwhile, a great battle here for 4th, 5th and 6th position. We have Wilk, Shirakawa and Yoshida all have pitted. Yoshida though in the background on the soft tyres, he's currently the quicker of the three as they almost go 3 wide there, looking to do so anyway. You see Wilk there checking his mirrors, probably thinking, oh no, here it comes, Shirakawa, looks to the inside though, Wilk covers him off, but a little bit slow on the exit. Shirakawa there as well. Here comes the grunt of the mighty V8 Corvette up to the inside. Will he be followed through though by Yoshida? He's using the slipstream of Shirakawa to try and follow through, and Wilk is going to lose 2 positions. No, he's not. Wilk just about manages to slot back in there in 5th position. Very well driven there by Wilk, very aware of his surroundings, but Shirakawa moves up into 4th position. Yep,
good move there, but as you said, good driving all around as they now go in to the long right-hander, which will complete the lap. Oh, and a bit of a tap there for Wilk. He was slowing down to try and get across to the pit lane, and Yoshida, I think, caught out by that. He did throw a hand in the air to say what was that all about, and then I think realised exactly what Wilk was slowing down for. He's now the first person to make 2 stops, and that's going to now go under investigation.
Shirakawa there just wiping the sweat from his brow, and I can say it's pretty warm in here. It becomes a whole lot warmer once you're concentrating and trying to drive to the levels that these guys drive at. I mean, how even myself, someone who is nowhere near these guys, I sweat buckets whenever I'm concentrating, which is a very nice mental picture for you guys at home. Incident there revolving Lakovsky and Law, another incident revolving Lakovsky. I missed that one. Chris, did you catch what happened there?
No, not at all actually. It was clearly happened out of shot. But if we get any messages delivered to us from race control, we'll bring them to you. Shirakawa, interesting stature there as he drives, and
so Yoshida really needs to get by Shirakawa on this soft tyre. He's being held up. He's not using the full potential of that grippy soft tyre, and in fact now is having to drive to the pace of Shirakawa, who is using his mediums and defending very well from that portion.
You see the body language of Shirakawa. He almost tries to look through the corners. Yoshida, though, as you said, really needs to get by here, and Shirakawa just doing everything he can to keep Yoshida behind him. And Yoshida is not getting the best out of his soft tyres at the moment, as Yamanaka's come into the pits to go onto the hard tyre, and he's going to rejoin just ahead of this battle, so it's going to be a 3-way dice for 3rd place, and Yoshida is now through.
He is, and this is something that is good for Yoshida, but here comes the Corvette again. The straight line speed of that Corvette is absolutely massive compared to the Porsche. He's going to be made to go around the long way though. Is he going to do it?
Yes.
Shirakawa, yes he is.
Oh,
Yoshida
no,
fighting back on the inside, so a little bit of contact between the two there, fighting very hard. Yoshida not keen to give up the place he is so hard worked for over the last few laps. It's very important though that Yamanaka did come out ahead of this, because he needs clear air now. If he got caught in this battle, that would have been disastrous for his potential race win. We still need to see a pit stop from both Kokubun and from Jonathan Wong, but once we see that, we'll be able to work out who's actually in contention for the race win here.
Yep, Jonathan Wong, of course, he is going to know the gap he's going to have to close down when those pit stops are made. It's going to be around 3 seconds, so Jonathan Wong will know his target. It's all probably going to come down to a last lap dice, which is exactly what we want to see. Just depends who really can make get the most out of those soft tyres better. Here we go then. Jonathan Wong peels into the pits.
Important thing now is to see where he comes out compared to Yamanaka. He is going to have the advantage. He's going to have that soft tyre now, Chris, so he's going to be super quick on these last few laps, and probably about a second or two faster a lap than Yamanaka in front, so he does come out the pit lane, though he comes out behind Yoshida and Shirakawa, which is big news. Yamanaka managed to jump these two, although being on the higher tyre. And Yoshida now, look, now that he's got past the Corvette, has got through a couple of corners without having to defend, he's really pulled away there from the Corvette, up to 1.7 seconds now.
He has indeed. Right, Jonathan Wong, what he can't afford to do is get delayed anywhere, and I wonder if that was what Kokubun's tactics were in coming in to get the softs for his second stint. Latkovsky's picked up another warning. He's got to cool himself down a little bit before the next race. Wong, though, it wasn't hard work for him to get into 4th place on those soft tyres. And next for him will be Yoshida, who's yet to make his second stop. Yamanaka, of course, is his first real target, as he is the first driver ahead to have made 2 stops. It's just about, wish we could see a gap between the pair of them, to be honest. Kokubun, when is he going to come in?
I'd say probably now. That'd be my guess. It must be on this lap. I wouldn't want to go too much further on those soft tyres. Looks like he's coming to the inside track. So in comes Kokubun.
Here he comes.
For his last stop. He'll be onto the hard tyre now, I believe. Onto the hard tyre there. So my memory is good for something, it seems. If Yamanaka comes out in front, this is actually now Jonathan Wong's race to win. There's a tongue twister for you. I think this is really his chance now to come up. How does he come out compared to Kokubun? There is Kokubun, and there is Wong right up behind his rear spoiler. Who's got the straight line speed here? Wong needs to get by Kokubun very quickly here. If he stands any chance of his race win, goes straight to the inside there to the left hand. He should have it done on the brakes, and past he goes up into second place. Wong is on a charge. Next up, Yamanaka.
Yeah, Wong into a second place there, and the crowd appreciating that one, but I don't think Kokubun really had any chance on fresh tyres there, and on the hard tyres to hold Jonathan Wong off, who had his well up to temperature. And Jonathan Wong, I think it's only a matter of time here before he catches Yamanaka as well. The gap is coming down 0.2 every corner at the moment. Yamanaka unable to keep Jonathan Wong at bay, and Jonathan Wong has played his cards spot on at the moment, but let's not speak too soon because there is still a couple of laps to go at the end of this one. Shirakawa is in 4th place, Yoshida is 5th, Wilk is 6th, Yatlan Law is 7th, and Latkovsky is 8th. Holland Knight Simmons in 10th place. Here comes Wong out the last corner, and he's about to take the race lead as Yamanaka forcing him all the way to the inside of the circuit, but there is Jonathan Wong into the race lead.
There still have a braking zone to go yet, Chris, and yes, Wong does hold the inside. Yamanaka looks to try and get the undercut there, come back in, doesn't quite work though. You see the amount of speed that Wong took onto the straight, just carrying the speed for the last corner on those soft tyres, made it look easy. I don't think this race is over for Yamanaka yet now, because fighting with Wong has put Kokubun back into the situation as well, only 4 tenths behind, so it's now going to be a battle for second, and I foresee Wong in front putting away. If the race ends as it was now, Wong would actually move up into the lead of the series, our mini-series here today, but it's not over just yet.
Yep, so this is crucial for Kokubun, really, to get into second place, because if he does, then he'll draw level on points, or it'll be level, won't it, on points with Jonathan Wong, sorry. Getting confused already, and it's only race number 2, but Kokubun here, he's got just over a lap to do this one, and Yamanaka's going to go ultra defensive mode going on to that final lap. Jonathan Wong should have the gap.
I will say one thing, Chris, there's a distinct possibility now that Wong's tyres are going off. So he might have a difficult last lap, where these guys will have the performance they're used to. Well, contact between Kokubun and Yamanaka there for the last corner. Yamanaka just slow off the corner, and you see Kokubun there in the bottom there saying, come on, get on with it. I've got a very fast Beetle under me, and I want to continue this pace as it is. Coming down to T1 for the last time of asking. Final lap now, guys. It's Wong, Yamanaka, Kokubun. You're 1, 2, 3. And that Beetle is all over the back of the Mercedes AMG. That's not a sentence I say very often. Coming down the straight, slipstream now enforced. Not quite close enough for a move right now. Yamanaka positioning his car as he would normally, just trying to ignore the fact he's got Beetle buzzing around behind him. And now we come down the hill, very well up the hill first, but a very difficult series of corners now. Not really a place to overtake. I think Kokibun is trying to prove me wrong. No, not quite.
Yep, he's not able to find a way through at the moment, but we've got half the lap remaining and the big overtaking opportunity just coming up now. Can he dive to the inside? He thought about it, but Yamanaka changed his line just as he hit the brakes there, and that's surely going to affect him on the exit. It has done. Kokibun really spinning up the tyres there. That's going to affect him ever so slightly down the straight then, as we now head downhill for the final time. Closing in is Yoshida, but it's all going to be a little bit too late, I'm afraid. Kokibun looks to the outside. It's for the final time now. He's only got one more corner remaining. Yamanaka's put up a really good defence, but is he going to lose it right at the end of the race, I wonder? Jonathan Wong is going to take the win and potentially the lead in the series as he comes across the line, but who's going to take second?
Another situation of who's second again. It's very close at the line. They're side by side. Who's it going to be? Yamanaka again. No, Yamanaka just takes it from Kokibun on the line. That's the second time in a couple of weeks he's fought for the line for a position and just made it. Yoshida nearly got involved there right at the end. So it's Yamanaka, Kokibun, Yoshida second, third and fourth. But of course, Jonathan Wong taking the victory. Tyre strategy there really played into his hands. And that was a fantastic result there for the Hong Kong driver. Simmons so fighting for ninth to the end with his fellow countryman Holland. And it's just going to be Simmons on the line from Holland. What a good couple of finishes we have there.
So Jonathan Wong then, he takes the win and the series lead. Big result for him. The driver from Hong Kong is now our new leader.
You've got to give it to Wong, really. That was fantastic drive by him. Great strategy, very calm and collected on the soft tyre at the end there. Just got it to the end, 4-second win, and he's going to be very happy with that.
He will do indeed, and that now going into the final race, of course. So Wong it is, there's confirmation of the result. Yamanaka also putting up a very good drive there to just about take second. Kokibun is third, Yoshida fourth, Shirakawa fifth, Wilkes sixth, then it was Yatlam Lawrence seventh, Latkovsky in 8th place, and Jonathan Wong will now be interviewed on that stage.
So just being asked how he feels after the race there.
And being asked now about any highlights of the race. Unsurprisingly, talking about the opening lap.
Well, we were getting a translation at the start there, but I think he decided to switch to Japanese, so we'll come back off there, which is thank you, Johnny, for that. I appreciate that, mate. It's very hard for us mixing that up here on the on the soundboard.
Well, now being asked about the choice of leaving the soft tyre towards the end of the race.
Okay, so just I think he was saying he wanted to keep that soft tyre towards the end, as some of you were saying in chat, just so he could fight at the end of the race and not have to be defensive. And really, we can say it definitely paid off for him, didn't it?
Yeah.
He's been asked now why he speaks Japanese. Yeah, we want to know that too, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Is it because he plays Japanese games for many years? So he's one of those people who actually go and learn the language and does it properly instead of speaking the 3 or 4 words of Japanese that we did. That we do, yeah, very poorly. So again, a big congrats to Jonathan Wong there, getting a round of applause from the audience, and we're now coming up to the results. Official results coming up on the screen very shortly. Not quite yet. Our host just teasing us there. Thank you very much.
No. Doesn't seem to really.
So right now we are asking Yamanaka to come forward, our current third place driver in the points. Second place there.
And we're going to get Kokibun up as well. Of course, these going to be likely the 3 drivers that battle it out for victory. So it's 22 points to Jonathan Wong. And this is your ranking from left to right, first, second, and third. So we're now going to speak to Yamanaka, who are being asked about that second race.
AKA Yamato Racing 38. So some of you may have raced him online at some point. May not have done, of course. Just speaking about how he wanted to try and control the race from the start, but it didn't quite work out for him. Saying he may have had a couple of moves that were a little bit on the line in terms of aggression, but he was very keen on keeping his position, and he did so. Sees himself as a fighter. There you go. That's a very bold statement to the other drivers. I'm a fighter. You're going to try it, and I'm going to put up a good fight against you.
I think that was certainly proven in that race, and he'll have to fight very hard in this last race. Double points, so a win very, very crucial indeed, and could make all the difference. And he just referring to the Beetle now, actually. I don't think he realised quite how fast the car was.
I don't think anyone did, really. If you see the Beetle, you go, oh, that's good for the hairdressers, not really for those looking to whack a whip on it and go flying around racetracks.
Yeah, I was very surprised actually when we came in during practice, and the man we are seeing on screen now, Kokubun, was practicing.
So Kokubun just talking about his penalty and how it caused a big blow to his race. I think it was from a cut track. I didn't actually see it. I think it must have been a cut track because it kind of popped up very quickly. But I think he came back strong, considering that he lost quite a bit of time in a very crucial part of the race.
Yeah, half a second at the start of a race is a lot of time. Maybe in the middle part it's not so bad, but at the start it is huge, and it drops him into second place.
Just hearing for our translation here, guys, he's saying that he's really keen on being the best he can, and like everyone else up there, is wanting to win this series.
He looks fairly dejected in comparison, of course, to his first interview, but I guess to be expected, considering he wasn't able to win that race. Back to Jonathan Wong we go, and
I think the guy down there with the keep talking sign is there at the moment. He's got that to 21, aka Saika 159. Again, like everyone else up there, a bit of a different attitude. He wants to just do his best. He's not as keen on winning, just happy if he puts in a good performance.
I think we're almost ready to start getting ready for our final race.
Just while we are waiting, guys, again, we are here to answer any questions you have. Well, I'm here anyway. Chris doesn't know how to use a PC, bless him. So if you want any questions answered, I will do my best to do so. And of course, to let you know, if you are enjoying the stream and you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button, because that way we know we're doing a good job.
So it's 22 points for Jonathan Wong. Kokubun has 20 points. The difference between first and second in the next race, though, is 4 points. So essentially it's a straight fight for victory. Yamanaka could also draw himself very close, because if he finishes ahead of Jonathan Wong, he'll draw level on points with him as well. But imagine on countback, Wong would win. He has 18 points. Yoshida is fourth with 14 points. So still has a chance of a potential podium. Shirakawa, likewise, an outside shot it would be, but he is in fifth. Latkovsky, despite all his penalties, still sixth with 8 points. Then it's Wilk with 7 points, Simmons with 6 points, Law has 5 points, and in 10th place Holland with 4 points.
Now, realistically, it's the top 3 drivers who are in with a shout, I think, of winning this. But of course, this being a double-point race does mean we have a couple more options open to us. So I think maybe I'll extend that down to the top 5. Unfortunately, the Australian is not really anywhere in this final. Same with Yatlam Law, who looked quite strong at the start of this weekend, but just hasn't really converted anything in these important races here today. Of course, all these drivers are through to the World Finals regardless, and maybe not quite taking this as seriously. Maybe their goals are set for there. But if I were one of these drivers right now, I'd want the double whammy. I want to win here. I want to go through to the finals with that attitude of being a winner, and then take that through.
I thought it'd be the opposite personally, because there's a nothing to lose approach, so I thought maybe that's why we're seeing so many penalties, who knows, but I really thought that they'd be slightly more relaxed, considering that they're all through to the World Final. And have you got a question coming in?
We do. I'll give it to you, Chris. So could you please explain the format a bit, like how the cars are chosen, what the next round will look like, and how the competition will progress after this event?
Well,
from T. Wayne, I'm going to say.
So in terms of the format for this event, these are the top 30 drivers who have qualified through from the Asia Oceania region. 30 drivers raced yesterday. They were split into 3 blocks. We had 1 block from Australia, 1 for Japan, and 1 from Hong Kong, Taiwan and New Zealand. The top 2 drivers from each of those races went through, and then we had repechage races to get the final 4 in. After this, we will repeat that process for the European, Middle Eastern and African region and the Americas region. Then that will make 30 drivers, 10 from each region, who will go through to the World Final, where I imagine a similar kind of format will be followed as to this weekend to decide a winner. As for how the cars are chosen, whoever is ranked the highest coming into the weekend gets first pick of the cars, and then we work our way down. So rankings very crucial, and that's something to remember if you're ever taking part in a future event.
Means you're putting in the work and you're getting rewarded for it when you come to the event. Now, just to remind you, we're using the Group 1 cars here, my favourite group of cars, I'd say that much. 19 laps here of the Fuji Speedway. It's going to be a long race, racing hard, medium and soft tyres being used here today. 3 times fuel consumption with 15 times tyre wear, and the slipstream setting set to real. And down this long straight with downforce based cars, that's really going to make a difference. So we're just waiting to switch over to the race, or to the race service, so we can show you guys what we're seeing on screen right now. Fuji Speedway, of course, introducing the September update for Gran Turismo Sport. Great to see that here as well. Fuji is a bit of a staple, really, I think, from the Gran Turismo series from GT4 onwards, and great to see it back. So we've got 5 seconds until we go to the final, the last race of the evening here at Tokyo. Double points on offer, everything to play for.
It is indeed. We have our top 3 drivers split by just 4 points, and that is what splits first and second in terms of the points you get. So first place will receive 24 points, 20 points for second, 16.
Sorry, Chris got a slap on the wrist there for talking over the awesome intro here. Very beautiful thing, very epic indeed, and I think that's something that we need to have for this race. I'll take you through the grid, and then Chris will take you through the start of this last round here today in Tokyo. And of course, there's Jonathan Wong at the front of the grid in the Porsche 919 Hybrid, an awesome machine, followed by Yamanaka in the Mazda LM55 rotary powered machine. The Toyota TS050 piloted by Kogibun. Then down in 4th, Yoshida in the SRT Tomahawk, slowed down to being Group 1. That car is really fast on its own. Shirakawa in the R18, one of my favourite cars on the field. Then it's Adam Wilk in the Alpine, never say that one right. Then we have another Toyota, this time a TS030 with Jack Lamore starting 7th position. Then we have Lakovsky looking to try a bit of a cleaner race this time in the Hyundai. Down in 9th is Matt Simmons in the Peugeot 908 Diesel. And last on the grid, Daniel Holland in the Peugeot L750R. So just coming up to the race now, Chris, let's do it.
Right, here we go then. Jonathan Wong leading the way on points by 2 points ahead of Kokubun, with Yamanaka a further 2 points back, and they pretty much start almost mixed up really, because Wong at the front maybe leading the points, but Kokubun not far behind at all. Here we go then for the last time here at the Asia Oceania Regional Final. It's the Nations Cup. Down towards turn number 1 we go at the Fuji International Speedway, and it's very, very close for third place. Oh, someone off onto the grass. Shirakawa there trying to go around the outside when there was no room, and there was a huge lunge from someone, and it's definitely caused a little bit of an incident, I think.
Oh, in the background there's a car off at Shirakawa. I've just seen that to the left. Sorry, Chris, to take over there. He's just spun at T1. That's not the start you want to the final. He's lost a ton of time there. But I think that was Daniel Holland who had the great start back there in the Peugeot. We'll wait to see that come through the background. Yes, it was. And the Alpine up to 5th position as well, I think, or 6th. So Daniel Holland now under investigation. He had a big lunge at T1. I think he might have taken Shirakawa with him.
Well, he looked a bit far back, but oh, Yamanaka's got a 3-second penalty. His chances, I think, of winning this event have just gone. 3-second penalty, and his reaction was evident there to the bottom left of your picture. I'm not too sure what happened. Shirakawa was trying to go around the outside of him and was on the grass, but in my opinion Shirakawa was trying to go around the outside when there was no room anyway. I imagine that's what led to him spinning off, but Daniel Holland was trying a really brave move somewhere, and ultimately is now under investigation.
And there you go, illegal blocking from Holland. So I'd love to see a replay of what happened there. Importantly, Yamanaka lost so much time there, taking that penalty for the 3 seconds, because he had to serve that at the start of a straight. And now here come the rest of the guys coming in to pretty much swamping Holland there. Another 3-second penalty that he's not yet served. I think that was given to him just after the penalty line. We have all the concepts all together there, and the Toyota TS030 there with the hybrid trying to push by in the background. And there's been incident involving Wilk and Holland, so a bit of a hectic start here at Fuji.
Yep, they're keeping the stewards very busy. I'd say it's potentially a 2-horse race now between Kokubun and Wong, and at this stage they'd be tied on points. So Kokubun and Wong tied on points. If they do draw level, in fact no, it's double points, isn't it? So Kokubun would take the win. So Jonathan Wong really needs to get back past Kokubun here. Holland's going to pick up a 3-second penalty. He collided with another car somewhere.
That's 6 now he's got. 6 seconds he's got now, because that's 3 plus 3. So Holland is pretty much out of this one. Really unfortunate for him. But the thing is, the penalty situation at the start has allowed Kokubun and Jonathan Wong to pull away. They are now only 7 tenths away from each other, but 5 seconds ahead of third place Yoshida. You're seeing now back from the rear wing the SRT Tomahawk. As I mentioned earlier, the road car version of this, the concept, had to be taken back quite a lot to fit in this category. Here comes Yamanaka looking to gain back a little bit of time in that rotary powered LM55. Listen to that thing go by. Unmistakable sound of the rotary as it goes down to T1. That is a position gain for Yamanaka.
Yep, a position gain back, and it's very close between our 2 leaders here, Kokubun and Wong, and different tyre choice, of course. So this for Kokubun is very good at the moment because he's on the mediums, Wong is on the softs, yet Kokubun is leading the way.
Interesting to see that people have chosen the soft tyre at the start of this race and not kept it for the end in order to maybe fight and go from there. As you've mentioned now, really, Kokubun is looking the best of the two because he is on the worst tyre, but managing to stay ahead in terms of track position. What Jonathan Wong needs to do is get by very quickly and try and put out somewhat of a gap. Now, the Porsche 919 hybrid is quick off the corners, but not too quick at the top end. So we'll see how that competes compared to the Toyota 050.
Kokubun definitely the favourite of this stage, but there's a long way to go, and Yamanaka got that penalty really at the wrong time, but Jonathan Wong trying to move here and was almost alongside. Now in the slipstream, surely he's going to get the run into turn 1. Kokubun got more grunt down the straight, so Jonathan Wong at the moment is going to have to settle for second, but Yamanaka with that penalty on the soft tyres, it's almost a double blow in fact. So, well, Kokubun just ahead of us. We're on board with Jonathan Wong, and these two 5 seconds clear almost from the rest of the field.
Yeah, the Porsche started to come back towards the braking zone, but didn't quite have enough track to make it. The slipstream was starting to make up for the lack of top end the Porsche had. But this isn't good for Wong. He's going to have to pit in soon, very soon I think, for tyres. Bear in mind, you can see in the top right, 15 times tyre wear, so 1 lap is equivalent to 15 lap on the tyres, and I think that the Wong soft tyres are on the way out.
Yeah, Yamanaka in third, and he's being caught by Latkovsky here. Latkovsky's having his best race of the day. Yoshida is 5th, so having one of his worst. Wilk is 6th, Shirakawa 7th, Yatlam Law is 8th. Simmons and Holland both have had days to forget. There's your points ranking. That's not live. That is now live. Cockburn, the double points coming into effect means that he goes back into the lead with a 2-point advantage. So, as we said before the race, it is a straight fight for victory. Now, Wilk and Shirakawa are under investigation for something. They've had some sort of incident, and that is to add insult to injury because they are both down the field.
I really thought that Wong was going to pit that lap, but no, he's going to go up the inside of Cockybun and take the position. Wow, I thought his tyres were spent, but there he goes into the lead. Cockybun tries to hold it round the outside there. He's going to use the hybrid of a Toyota, maybe come back at him. No, it's not. A big round of applause here from our live audience there as Wong goes up to first in the 919 hybrid. I really thought we were going to see him in the pit lane now, as Latkovsky is the first to pit down in 7th position. Will he now pull away? I think he is pulling away from Cockybun right now. He's really managed to use those tyres well.
Something's happened to Jonathan Wong, and it's coming into effect. He's now back into the lead, and not only is he into the lead of the race, but he's into the lead of the points. So at this stage, if the flag were to go out, Jonathan Wong would be the Asia Oceania Final champion. So that's a big move to be made, but Cockybun, I don't think Jimmy's really going to be too bothered about that.
I'd say that at the moment, just to really, hello, here's Latkovsky as well. Yeah. More contact. Shirakawa gets some contact penalty as well. 3 seconds. He is just behind these guys, so it's a penalty for him. That makes that move a bit better. Now, surely now we're going to see Jonathan Wong peel over to the right into the pit lane. We do see that his tyres must be spent.
And he's followed in.
I don't think he is. I think Cockybun is just going to use the slipstream. No, he's not. Wow!
He's
so
followed
that
in.
is huge news. Cockybun was not able to make the mediums go any further. Wong managed to stay out just about and keep his softs alive and take position, and now will likely come out in the lead. But now, big news as well. Wong goes onto the mediums, Cockybun goes onto the hard tyres. So Cockybun's going to have the faster tyres at the end, but Wong might get the advantage now. At the moment, Wong comes out of the pits just ahead of Cockybun behind, with Yoshida going up into the lead, but has yet to pit.
Well, let's see how long he makes those mediums last. Cockybun made him last 5 laps. Let's see how long Jonathan Wong can go on those tyres.
Also, at this point, just to remind you guys that whoever finishes higher out of Wong or Cockybun, they will win.
Yeah,
they win the entire event here. So there's a massive amount riding on this performance between the two drivers.
Can't imagine the pressure they're both feeling. Up ahead of them is Yoshida, but he will be coming. Well, he's on the hard tyres, so it's unsurprising that he's still out there. But they will probably both sail past him very shortly. And I don't think Yoshida will be putting too much of a fight up either. He's not in this race really for the lead. Yamanaka is 4th, so he's 3rd of those who have pitted. Latkovsky 4th of the drivers who have pitted, and there goes Wong. Yoshida not making it too difficult for him, but Wong has lost himself a little bit of time in having a little look at the inside. Should now go through down the straight.
I wonder now if we'll see Yoshida help out his fellow countryman. Wong hasn't got the speed in the straight line to stay with the Tomahawk, and neither has Toyota in the background, so he'll stay ahead for now. But I don't think Yoshida has any plans to get out of the way of these guys behind. He'll hold them up as much as they can. If he can force a mistake out of either of them, that does help his race, of course. He's still yet to pick. He's out on the hard tyre at the moment, so a long stint first for Yoshida. Wong goes up the inside, though, absolutely throws it up the inside of the Coca-Cola corner, and that is the move done. And following through in the background is Cockybun. So that is 2 positions lost in 1 corner for Yoshida. He will not be able to fight back now.
No, and not really the end of the world for him, but Jonathan Wong has gained just a little bit of time in that. He's extended his lead to over 0.6 of a second, so that a very successful move for him indeed. Cockburn is still there in second and managing to hold on here despite being on the hard tyre. In fact, he's now starting to close in, so he's really making those tyres work at the moment. I think Jonathan Wong is just going to be monitoring that gap now, and I don't think he's going to be too happy with what he's seeing at the moment. He could be in a bit of trouble when we hit the straight here.
Look at the different lines here, Chris. Cockburn takes a very wide line. Look at the exit there. That was a great line through there from Cockburn, not so much from Wong. And now they're going to be having a drag race down the straight. The Toto will pull into the slipstream. Here he comes, closer, closer. He pulls to the outside. Looks like Wong's going to try and defend the inside line. At this rate, the Toto's going to be passed before T1. We see a great view there from the pits. But I want to see T1. Thank you very much. Cockburn just about into the lead for now, but he's still on the outside. Can Wong keep him there? And no, Cockburn is still side by side at the moment. I thought we were going to see that all said and done, and he just pulls ahead of Wong, goes round the outside, but Wong switches back, coming into the Coca-Cola corner. No, not quite close enough. So Cockburn on the harder tyre goes round the outside of Jonathan Wong at T1.
Yep, Jonathan Wong then's not going to be happy with that whatsoever. Cockburn into the race lead. Jonathan Wong down to second place. So Cockburn is going to be very happy with how things are progressing at the moment. He's on the hard tyre. He's just passed his rival who is on the medium tyre. So now very much in control of this race. Jonathan Wong perhaps pressure getting to him ever so slightly, or he is really just struggling to get the best out of those tyres.
It seems that he's just not having a good time for the last corner. Maybe now he'll follow Cockburn's line. Let's see what he does. Comes to, he pretty much comes a bit wider there.
Still not wide enough though.
The track, and you see the difference is that when he gets to the apex, it becomes a very tight corner. So he has to slow down and loses a ton of time there to the Japanese driver in front.
He doesn't seem happy at all in that rig. Body language just showing that, but now we can just try and stay with Cockburn in the slipstream. He was able to make his tyres in the first stint last pretty long, so let's see if he's able to do that again this time. Now Yoshida's come in to the pits for the first time, and he went 9 laps on those hard tyres, and he now switches onto the mediums. So he's going to work his way down towards the softs. And we still have Yatlam Law out there yet to stop, and Matt Simmons. So both trying to make very long stints. There is your point standings at the moment. Cockburn leading by 2 points. As we said, straight fight for victory with it being double points. Yamanaka, third place, pretty comfortable at the moment. He's got 8 points either side.
Great to see that our top 2 drivers are now together on track as well. Top 2 in the standings, top 2 on the circuit right now. Not in the order that Jonathan Wong would like it though. Still following Cockburn up the last part of the circuit. Very difficult part of it through here. Kills your front tyres if you aren't soft on them. Now this is where Jonathan Wong needs to be a bit softer through here. Now in the background, Yamanaka, I heard that rotary before I saw it come through. He's not too far back. I think he's getting a bit closer, Chris. I'm seeing him now coming to shot, whereas before I was not.
Well, it's 2.5 now. Let's see what it is next time they come round. Yamanaka is doing pretty well, and it's fair to say Cockburn and Wong weren't fighting, but they are going to be now. Wong pulls to the outside in towards turn 1 as Dan Holland has a penalty. Wong's trying to go all the way around the outside at turn 1, but unsurprisingly it's not going to work for him just there, so Cockburn holds on for now, and this is not good news for Wong. Considering he's on that medium tyre, he's going to be getting very frustrated at the moment.
Seems that Dan Holland is trying to best Latkovsky's penalty record at the moment. Another penalty for the Australian driver. His races and series is pretty much done. Just not been a good day for him, unfortunately. It does happen, and Wilk into the pit lane from softs to mediums, a bit further down the course, again not really having much bearing on the race right now. Cockburn in the Toyota still leading from Jonathan Wong. This is good for Cockburn because he's going to be on the fresher tyres. The thing is though, Wong is going to pit. He's going to pit in for the hard tyres. He's going to have the undercut. He'll pit in sooner than the Kokubun will, because it's on the fresher tyre, and that might switch us around, but of course that will then mean that Kokubun will have the fast tyres towards the end, so this is nowhere near over, and we have 10 laps to go. And just to confirm that Yamanaka is gaining on both of these guys right now. You see Jonathan Wong flashing his light saying, look at me, don't look at the apex, trying to distract the driver in front. But there's a reason why Kokubun is one of the best drivers in the world. I say he's not being distracted, he actually went a little bit wide there. I was trying to pay you a compliment there, mate, and you made me look silly. Coming now down to this very fast left hand. Look how close these guys are. Almost no Sateo, who can pretty much touch, reach out and touch the rear spoiler from that distance.
Yamanaka closed the gap by half a second last time, so that's a good amount of time to have taken out of Kokubun and Wong. Wong, though, getting a little bit sideways. Just coming out the left-hander there. And they now head down through Dunlop Corner. Yamanaka, 3rd place. Latkovsky, 4th place. Despite all the penalties he's had, he's sitting 5th in the standings at the moment. So Latkovsky is maybe having an aggressive approach to this finals, but results-wise, it's not going to be a bad day at all. Yoshida is 5th, Shirakawa 6th, and it's Law, Simmons, Wilk, and Holland way off the back of the field.
It's really worth noting as well, Chris. I think I temporarily forgot about this. Yamanaka got a 3-second penalty at the start of this race, and he's managed to put it back in. So Wong into the pit lane now. He is the first to blink. He's going to come in, put on those hard tyres and goes in. I think Yamanaka was following him in as well. Will Yamanaka go to the hards? Okay, so both drivers in the hards now. Both these guys are going to get the undercut on Kokubun in the lead. So we might see this become a three-way scrap. In fact, I am confident at the end of this race we're going to have a three-way fight for 3rd.
Kokubun is going to be in a little bit of breathing space now. How much longer is he going to be on the hard tyres, though? That is the question. Now, we were talking about Yamanaka and how he was 2 seconds back. He probably would have been leading the race, if not in a comfortable 2nd, if he hadn't got that penalty. So I think he's going to be kicking himself afterwards. Still not sure exactly why he got that penalty, but I'm sure he'll mention that when interviewed after the race.
I think he got a short, I think he cut the track somewhere. That would probably have been it for a 3-second penalty to be that quickly implemented. That's the game saying, nope, don't do that. The cut tracks are set, I think it's weak for the cut tracks around here, so you can maybe be a bit more enthusiastic on the curbs, but if you take the Mickey, then the game will give you a slap, and it did to Yamanaka earlier. Yamanaka now right on the back of Yoshida. He needs to get past Yoshida very quickly at the moment. Let's see if he can do that. The thing is, Yamanaka is actually fighting Jonathan Wong in front and not Yoshida on the track. What sort of straight line speed does that Mazda have? In comes our leader, Kokubun, into the pit lane. He's going to have softs for the end, so he's going to have a fast car for the end of this race. Is he going softs all the way to the finish?
That's a long way to go on soft tyres. There's Latkovsky, who's going to briefly go into the lead, and there is Wong, and Jonathan Wong is now right on the back of Kokubun, who's going to be getting delayed here now by Latkovsky. So this is really starting to change things here. Latkovsky's now starting to delay Kokubun even more. Kokubun's going to be getting seriously frustrated here. He can't afford to take much life out of those tyres, and he's having a little bit of contact now with Latkovsky. He's been run wide, and there goes Jonathan Wong. They're going to be 3 wide,
both gonna
and
take
Wong's going to take the lead.
Both past Latkovsky there. Neither of them want to deal with that. They split the Australian there. Wong into the lead, Kokubun in 2nd now on those soft tyres. We need to talk about that, Chris. He cannot, surely not make, look at the traction out of there, of the Toyota. It goes past like the Porsche is standing still. That's hybrid power. And Yamanaka now looking at Latkovsky in the background. He's up into 3rd place, and now that three-way fight for 3rd is now coming into play. But Kokubun will pull away now on those soft tyres, but I really don't see him making them last for 5 laps.
We'll find out, I guess. Well, it's 6 laps, isn't it? No, yeah. You're right, 5 laps, I can't count. Kokubun 2 points ahead still, so nothing's changed there, of course. but it is all going to be about a fight to the end.
And there goes the Mazda.
Yes, goes Yamanaka, yeah. Now, Wong, what he doesn't need is a fight with Yamanaka. He could do with Yamanaka pulling him up towards the back of Kokubun, but they don't really need to be doing this.
I don't think he's going to, I was about to say, I don't think he's going to get a fight once Yamanaka gets a couple of corners in between the two, because you saw how fast Yamanaka closed in on both of these guys. He went from 5 to 3 seconds in the amount of laps. Now, another round of applause down there from our live audience as Yamanaka made the move on Wong. We now have a Japanese 1-2. With Kokubun pulling away on his soft tyres, but the speed of Yamanaka just giving his fingers a little stretch there. I think he's getting a little bit of cramp in his fingers having to wheel that Mazda around. It'll be a great victory. I've not seen a rotary car win a race probably since it actually last won at Le Mans in 1991. Of course, this actually has the same number, the LM55, called so because that was the number that won at Le Mans back in 1991. Bit of trivia for you there, Chris.
Yeah, well, good knowledge there. Yamanaka, let's see what he can do in chasing down Kokubun here. So all of the top three have made all their stops. This is now the last race of the event, so it all comes down to this, but Jonathan Wong doesn't want to be sat in third place, and he draws alongside Yamanaka, and the power kicks in for Yamanaka, and there we go.
Here's something, Chris. Do you think we'll see Kokubun come in for a second set of softs and go for the free stop? Because you have to use all compounds, but there's nothing saying that you can't use it again. Yamanaka getting a warning there for blocking. I think he might have been a little late with the comeback there, but I'm not sure that was worth a warning or not. But there it is, the steward saying we don't want to see any of that. Be fair with the defence, which is completely fair enough, of course. Yamanaka does still have the pace over Wong at this point. Only just though, the gap is only a couple of attempts. You can see how close they are on track now. Wong goes to the inside. Now he has a hybrid of the Porsche 919, so he can pull away a bit quicker on the straights. But the front, the rotary engine at the on the straights is just too much. And when you get to the top end, the Porsche just cannot compete.
Well, Yamanaka there just backing up at the corner, and Jonathan Wong went straight into the back of him. Kokubun has got a 3.6 second lead. Jimmy, I've got to ask, how much time do you reckon Kokubun would lose once those softs go off per lap?
You
or
really
is it too hard
expect them
today?
to come back now. It's very interesting to see this strategy. I don't know how much time he'll lose per lap. I mean, let's say he loses 2 seconds per lap, and when you get to lap 18, he's got a 4 second gap.
The average window we've been given for the soft tyre is 6 laps.
Here we go, they're hitting the Porsche, pulling out, and then the sad face as Yamanaka just continues to pull away. The hybrid runs out with the Porsche, and Wong cannot do anything about it. Now, Wong has the most to lose here. He's realistically the only person who can challenge Kokubun right now for this championship, his overall event win, and he's running out of time. Only 3 laps, or 3 and a bit laps left now of this last race here at Fuji, and a little bit of contact there of Yamanaka. The cornering speed of a 919 seems superior to the Mazda, but the Mazda just has the legs on the straight.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, I reckon, to be in the seat of Jonathan Wong at the moment. Like we said, a 6-lap window is what we were given for the softs around here. So maybe Kokubun has played his cards exactly right. He knows he surely, to pull off a strategy like that, must have tested it before. But I guess all will be revealed in the next 3 laps as we're about to complete lap number 16, and Jonathan Wong now starting to make mistakes, which I imagine is a slight sign of frustration kicking in.
You see him sliding the 919 hybrid. You don't want to slide these downforce cars at all, as you lose a lot of time doing that. You see the lights there on the side of the car signifying that he's in third position. The 1, 2 or 3 lights, depending if you're in first, second or third. He's very firmly in third position. Kokubun is really putting out a gap, 4.3 seconds now. But I think this is where we need to start seeing the gap go the other way if Yamanaka or Wong have any chance of winning this event. Right now, Yamanaka looks like he's the person closest to challenging Kokubun for the win.
Yeah, but he's going to need to take around, well, over a second out of him on this lap alone. And that just doesn't look like it's going to happen to me. I think Kokubun has actually played the perfect strategy here, but let's see the race out first. Latkovsky is in 4th. I'd say despite any penalties given to him, he's had a pretty consistent day. 6th place, I think it was another 6th or a 5th, and now a 4th. Yoshida 5th, Shirakawa 6th, Law 7th, Simmons 8th, Wilk 9th, Holland 10th. There's your race leader and potential champion in the Asia Oceania Region Nations Cup. Ryota Kokubun is only going to have 2 more laps to go as he now comes out of the final corner ahead of a home crowd here in Tokyo.
Yep, a couple of laps left to go at this point. He's looking nice and cool, calm and collected. No soft tyres are still going. 5.2 seconds now the gap. I think he might have pulled a masterstroke, Chris. I think he might have done.
Well, onto the penultimate lap he goes, and Kokubun looks very, very calm, it has to be said. As we can see in the bottom left of our picture, it's 4.5 seconds ahead now of Yamanaka. And I think Wong slowly is just starting to give up on this race now, and you can't really blame him. He can still fight for 2nd place, but that doesn't really change anything. It still means whether he's 2nd or 3rd, even 4th at this rate, he'll still finish 2nd overall, and that's all that matters. So Kokubun now with a 5-second lead as he builds up to go onto the last lap. He's going to need to throw it off the track really to give anyone else a chance at winning. Here's a look at 4th place. That's Latkovsky.
Latkovsky's been in the wars a bit, I think it's fair to say. Kind of a bit of bumping with him involved in some way. He is under threat from Yoshida somewhat. 2 of the Gran Turismo Vision cars together. The SRT Tomahawk there, which looks very pretty if I must say so myself. And Hyundai is in front. I've not seen much of that car in front, so no real wing on that, and yet somehow it's sticking to the floor. I'm going to get some sort of ground effects on that vehicle. Coming on, well, we'll be on lap, I think we're coming on to the last lap now. I'm just checking at the top left. Here comes Kokubun onto the final lap then of the event. All he has to do is do 1 more lap on these very well used soft tyres, and he'll be taking away top honours from this event here at the Toyota MegaWeb building here in Tokyo.
Yamanaka there, 2nd place. Really, Jonathan Wong just needs to stay where he is, and he will secure 2nd place overall. Not quite what he wanted, but he wasn't able to get the most out of those soft tyres at the start of the race, and ultimately that is what changed everything. Even when he went onto the mediums, he still wasn't able to beat Kokubun, who was on the hard tyre. Kokubun, we thought he may have gone onto the softs too early. That was not the case. He has proved us wrong there, and he is going to take a very well-deserved victory there. Maybe a fight for 2nd right at the end here, but out front, Ryota Kokubun. Well, we had 30 drivers from the Asia Oceania region yesterday come to fight it out. 10 of them went through to the World Final. They are the 10 that have been on track today. A qualifying session kicked us off, and over 3 races, Ryota Kokubun has always looked like one of the favourites. Coming out to the 2nd race, he looked like he could have been really highly challenged as Wong took the points lead, but ultimately Ryota Kokubun is going to be the deserved champion in the Asia Oceania region. He wins the Nations Cup as he comes across the line. Brilliant performance. Yamanaka is 2nd place and Jonathan Wong is 3rd.
Wins this round of Nations Cup. Latkovsky comes round in 4th, followed by Yoshida there. Kokubun finally getting a chance to rest and just to chill out a little bit. Of course, here comes Yatlam Law through the last corner in the other Toyota, now the R18 by Shirakawa piloted in the background. He'll be followed home by Simmons, Wilk and Holland. So Kokubun taking, we'll wait official confirmation, but by my maths and by everyone else's here in the room, he is the event winner. He will go through to the World Final along with all these other drivers you've seen here today, and they will fight to become the world winner of the Nations Cup.
Yeah, there's going to be an even bigger prize at stake in mid-November. Venue yet to be confirmed, by the way, but we do know who the champion is of the Asia Oceania region, and it's that man there, Ryota Kokubun. Pole position in race 1. Comfortably won that. Race 2, bit of a hiccup as he finished 3rd. That put Jonathan Wong into the points lead, but Ryoto Kokibun, basically, I think, Jimmy, it all came down to him able to get the most out of each set of tyres. I think that's how he won not only this race, but this event.
Bit of a masterclass there. Really used the best of those soft tyres, kept them alive right to the very end. And a deserved winner in my eyes. Came from third on the grid. Nice and early. A Japanese winner at a Japanese event. The crowd's here, very happy. Lots of applause going on right now. I'm sure Kokibun finally relieved that this entire event has come to this. Through to the World Final, Asia Oceania region winner. Can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, Ryoto Kokibun, as our MC now comes back onto the stage. There you can see an official confirmation of the result. Kokibun first with 44 points, Yamanaka second, 38. Tied on points with Jonathan Wong, actually, so that's something that we wasn't really being shown, but here is Ryoto Kokibun. Takes the win overall. And he just talking there, it was a long race and a lot of concentration required, and he's sweating a lot now. And he was talking about how it was a real race, like a real race. Well, it was really. It was a fantastic fight between the two at the start, and eventually after the second stops, Ryoto Kokibun was able to break away.
So just to hear there that Yamanaka was awarded the second place there in the standings because he finished higher in the last race. So Yamanaka second, and then Wong, who went into this round leading, ends up in third place.
He's going to be disappointed about that, I imagine. That's of course how the first World Tour event was won, wasn't it? It went down to Giorgio Mangiano because he was ahead in the final race, taking the overall victory.
Yes, and that can happen here. It just shows you how close all these guys are. You know, it's never over until the final round, especially with the double points coming in. Very hard to go into that with any sort of victory. But Kokibun very, very happy with that result. Not really a man of many smiles or many emotions, but you see him over the weekend, you see him actually look relieved now, whereas he looked fairly stressed up until this section. MC just letting us know that all the races for today are over. So now just getting ready for the award ceremony. So in that meantime, we will just have a couple of seconds while that gets set up. You can see the guys getting ready on stage and our very high-tech podium in place. I got to stand on that the other day, and they told me to get off very quickly because they said, "Jimmy, you're a loser. Get off there."
Well, I'm surprised they were so polite, to be honest.
Me too. I was thankful for it. There are guys just lining up now.
There's your top three.
There they are, yeah.
And players are now in position, and we are going to go through the official results. This, of course, the FIA Gran Turismo Championship for 2018, the Nations Cup Asia Oceania Finals. And the winner from Japan, Ryoto Kokibun.
Maybe it's different in Japan.
Maybe it is.
More culture to get ready, but there you go. Kokibun up on the top step of the podium.
Second place, Tomoaki Yamanaka. Tell you what, that stern defence right at the end of the last race there,
Of course,
jumped him up from third to second.
Sorry, Chris. Jonathan Wong as well, both on the podium at the same time. Those are your top three.
That was something a bit different as well.
Yeah, something that we're not used to here as comms guys, but up on the podium, and deservedly so in my mind. So it's lucky that the Japanese guy won, because that's the only national anthem they've got here. I think it's the 4th time I've heard that this weekend. But
I think I saw a lot of running around when Jonathan Wong took the lead in the points.
yeah, trying to get the points sorted out. But yes, again,
I think they were going to get someone in to sing it, if that's possible.
But now we're going to get someone very special coming up to present the award. Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to have to keep you tied to your chair.
Hey, Chris is going up. No, of course, it is Kazunori Yamauchi himself.
Kazunori Yamauchi will be there to present the trophy to first place. He is, of course, the Gran Turismo series producer. And we'll say a few words before the awarding of the trophies happens. And just referring to the fact that we've had 2 World Tour events, but this the first official FIA regional event. And now referring to the fact that since he's been working on Gran Turismo, he was just looking at the 2 races over these the 2 days of racing here, and very glad that he's created the game and that it's led to something like this, which I think is very true as well. It's awesome to see that the game has gone through all these different series, and now it's led to this, and we have our first regional champion. So first we are going to present the trophy to 3rd place Jonathan Wong, and presenting the trophy from JAF Motorsports Race Commission, got there in the end, which is the Japan Automobile Federation. It's Mr. Akira Ida. I think he forgot to bring the trophy with him, actually. Oh no, there it is.
He's got how a podium works as well. Not really a good motorsport ambassador in my mind there. But he got there in the end. There's the trophy given to Jonathan Wong. Very nice trophies indeed, those.
And now for 2nd place, Mr. Stefan Vilestra from the FIA Head of Brand E-Motorsport Representative. That's good to say. That's we have someone from the FIA as an e-motorsport representative. Of course, 2nd place, the Japanese driver Tomoaki Yamanaka.
Here is Stefan Vilestra coming out, FIA Head of Brand, as you can see, giving handshakes to all competitors and handing the 2nd place prize to Yamanaka.
Oh, bit of confusion as to how the photo was going to be taken there, but
don't usually rehearse that, unfortunately. But
yeah, because we'd have to do it 30 times over. So. And now for the 1st place trophy, we've already heard from him today. It's going to be Mr. Kazunori Yamauchi, and our winner once again, Ryota Kokibun. So there is Kazunori Yamauchi, Gran Turismo series producer. Well, wonder how it feels, having done all the work he has on Gran Turismo as a brand, to now be presenting the first trophy to one of the regional champions.
And also be at this event. You look around, you see just how much work's gone into this place.
Look at that.
Absolutely
awesome.
beautiful event. And there you go. Here is a bonus. Tag Heuer has provided a gorgeous watch to the winner. This is somewhat of a bit of a surprise. They do this every time. They go, here you go, here's a very nice watch.
Yeah.
Please don't sell it.
Tell you what, I thought Jonathan Wong was trying to lynch his trophy there.
Yeah, just, maybe coming. Oh, that was 2nd place, that watch, is it? Oh, thank you, I'll take that.
And now we're going to be hearing from the top 3 players. So we're going to start with Jonathan Wong. Briefly, the leader in the points. Drove a really good 3 races. He's very happy and really wanted to win, but still very happy to make the podium. And just being asked about how started from pole position. Of course, how still the fact that he may have started from pole, it was a very high competition, and he's just now saying that he doesn't. I'm sure this is the same answer for a lot of these players, but doesn't have many opportunities to do something like this, and just wanted to make the most of it, and now looking forward to the World Finals, and will be trying to do his best.
Fantastic to see. One of them take the prize, of course, and have a chat with our MC, and just to reiterate that a lot of people. They're just very happy just to be here. It's a very difficult thing to come here and compete, especially when maybe you aren't used to interacting with so many people. Of course, it's easy to say at home, "Oh, you know, I'd be jumping up and down with joy," but this is quite overwhelming, of course.
I think you can vouch for that. They're in front of a big crowd, aren't they? And even I think when you walked out there yesterday, it's quite a lot to take in.
They all left when I walked out. I'm not quite sure what happened. But just to go over what Yamanaka is saying very quickly, just saying again, reiterating more of the same, kind of upset that he couldn't go further, but was happy to kind of take second at the last moment there and come in with the master and give that a good result. He's also saying that he couldn't do much practice because, of course, he's been in a hotel recently, as a lot of these guys have. I think the MC forgetting these guys have all been holed up in the same place. But that's part of it. A lot of these guys putting in a lot of practice to get to this point, and this is a payoff. This is definitely.
Yeah, of course. I think even if they only live around the corner, they were all put into. I've got to say, very nice hotel. We're staying as well, the Hilton, just round the corner, and now a round of applause for Yamanaka, who looks very proud. It has to be said, to be standing up there in second place. Someone that must feel even more proud is this man here, our winner. Being asked how he felt, Ryoto Kokubun.
So we're just hearing now, just saying it's the first time he's ever actually taken part in any event, and saying he's not really sure he deserves this spot, but he's very happy that he's here, and the crowd agreeing that he definitely deserves a big round of applause there for Kokubun. And I'll say from my point of view, if you ever watch this broadcast, Ryoto, I doubt you will because you don't really speak English, but a well-deserved result, my friend.
Yeah, really, you could have said anything there and he would have never known about it, but I think the only thing we can say is well done. Ryoto Kokubun. He's
hearing some more from him.
Yeah. He's just saying about how he can't wait to share the news with friends and family and everyone who he knows plays with on the game.
Of course, a lot of these drivers meeting each other for the first time at this event, and maybe have raced together as well. And he is very appreciative of the audience. Says thank you to the audience, gives them a bow. And there are the fireworks at the end there. They aren't real fireworks, you see his competitors encouraging him to enjoy the moment.
Got to say, when they told us after the fireworks and then went on to say something else, I was a little bit concerned, but as you can see, we went to Disneyland round the corner and filmed them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the fireworks aren't really viable in this area, but at least we have some. Here are some medals now being given. This is something that...
yes, these are for all the finalists, or the top 10, I believe, who are the world finalists now, the first world finalists. Looking forward to seeing who the other 20 are. Kazunori Yamauchi giving
the podium people first.
Giving it to the podium people first, and then we go through the rest of the field.
I was just thinking, Chris, that Kokubun's going to need a bag soon. He's got a lot of stuff up there, taking a lot of stuff home. But each player being recognised for the skill it required to get here. You might think, oh, some of these drivers were sort of lounging around at the back of the field, but bear in mind, they have gone through so many races to get to this point. It's just that some other guys were a little bit better today.
Yeah, and I think, I hate to say this, car choices was a big thing today.
Car choice was a big thing. I'm wondering if we'll see any amendments to that in future races or not.
I hope so.
We won't get too far into that because unfortunately I'm unfamiliar with the intricacies of each car.
This is something I didn't know that was happening. Everyone's getting a medal.
Oh, there you go. So everyone there just being recognised for making it through to the event. I think we're allowed to go home. That's what we get as our reward at the end. Everyone coming up and getting a medal. Great to see them recognised as well. Some people, of course, going out in the first race of competition, which will be very hard for them. But to still be recognised by Kazunori himself, of course, our FIA head of brand there. That'll be a nice feeling.
Yeah, it will. great experience to be here. We got the after party after this, so will be great to see the drivers there. And I think we're going to come in for a group photo now very shortly. Talking about drivers that went out in the first race. If you were 9th and 10th in your first race, went out, and fortunately some drivers hitting incidents at turn 1, and then that was pretty much their weekend over. So it's a brutal process, but I think it has to be at this kind of level. And to win, you've got to have a clean pair of heels, and you've got to be very quick as well. Quickest of all, Ryota Kokubun. But these guys, the best within this region. And I think you only get to really appreciate how good they are when you go on and try the game yourself, get to try and get anywhere near the times these guys are doing.
You don't play that now. We're just being reminded of the full point ranking, so you can see for yourself how they ended up. Again, just to reiterate that tie there between Yamanaka and Wong, meaning that Yamanaka was given the position based on the last race result. Yoshida, you see the top 3 really pulled away from the rest. Yoshida in 4th. Cody Latkovsky managed to salvage a 5th position after a poor first couple of races. Shirakawa 6th. Yapnam Law in 7th. Matt Simmons 8th. Adam Wilk 9th, and then at the bottom, unfortunately, not with a good series at all, that'll be Dan Holland.
And now they're talking to Tsuchiya, I believe, and asking his thoughts. I'm sure he enjoyed all the racing today.
Tsuchiya saying it'll be a really interesting thing to essentially put Kokubun in a real car, and say it'll be interesting to see how he fares in that. So great to see someone of Tsuchiya's stature and reputation put that idea forward.
And he does speak his mind, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean,
so
yeah.
He won't just be saying this. As you pointed out to me earlier when we were speaking about Tsuchiya earlier in the week, he'll just say exactly what he thinks of situations, whether it be good or bad. So
the example I gave is he had a teammate, I think, crash on one of his TV shows, and when he got to the crash scene, he laughed at him. And that was the first thing he did. So Chris liked that.
I dread to think what he would have said if he saw me on the rig earlier.
So we're just hearing that the guys are wrapping it up now. So it's been great to be here, Chris. Again, another opportunity to conversate alongside you. It's always fantastic to be here with you, even if you,
so it should be.
Even if you do bully me in the booth. And we're just hearing the MC telling us that the World Finals, of course, coming very soon. Once we know details, we'll let you know. Unfortunately, we are under strict NDA. We aren't allowed to know anything or tell you guys anything of what's coming next. So as soon as we do know, we will tell you. Tomorrow we have some Manufacturer Series races, which are going to be very fun, with 6 Japanese manufacturers competing against each other. And I really hope some of you guys, I think we're streaming it, can join you for us as well. Really cool lineups in there. Got some real life racing drivers as well as some esports drivers and representatives of the companies who are probably going to be the slowest, but all together to race up on the stage for you guys. A big applause again for our winners. The crowd here haven't really diminished at all, despite the fact the racing has finished. MC gives us a big fat goodbye, and it's goodbye from us up in the stream. Chris, any final words before we go, my friend?
It's been a pleasure as always, and thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, we've got the regional finals for Europe, Middle Eastern and African region, as well as the finals for the Americas as well, and then that world final in mid-November. To keep up to date, follow the socials, subscribe to the channel, and myself and Jimmy hopefully will be back very, very soon. From both of us, thank you for watching.